All right, so I don't know if you guys saw this new law that's about to be passed July of this year in Idaho. Did you hear about this Idaho law?
No.
We have to talk about it. It's something that I actually want to get your reaction to it. Some folks are going to like it. Some folks are going to love it, especially when you hear about the story of what happened with that young girl in the FedEx car with the independent contractor that ended up murdering the girl. If you remember that story we talked about 2 weeks ago. Wait till you see what Idaho is passing. I'm telling you, wait till you see what Idaho is passing. I want to get into that, talk about it. It's pretty impressive to see what they got going on. There's a lot of stuff that's going on, obviously, over the weekend. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Trump stands by his remarks against the Pope Leo. Pope Leo expands calls for peace to perceived war of words with Trump, dismissing media narrative of the rift. Pope Leo says his tyrant's remark were not aimed at Trump. We'll definitely be talking about that. While we're talking about this, there was a clip that was going viral all over X that even IDF confirmed the picture, which was a soldier. I think it was, what was it? It was
knocked down the statue of Jesus and broke it up.
Knocked down the statue of Jesus and to pieces. We'll definitely talk about that. Terrible, terrible thing to see there. Donald Trump signs Joe Rogan-backed executive order expediting psychedelic drug research. The world watched Joe laugh 50 times behind Trump. I don't know if you saw when he's standing behind him. He's just cracking up.
Yeah.
Trump is saying, some are telling me the greatest president of all time. I was able to save it for 40 years. They couldn't do it. That's why they call me the greatest. 1.8%. It got lower, and some say that's not a lot, but I think it's a lot. And he's just a funny guy, what he was doing. So we'll address that. Trump announces Monday peace talks in Islamabad, accuses Iran of ceasefire violation. And apparently J.D. Vance is on his way over there to negotiate, even though IRGC said they're not going to show up. U.S. is like, no, they're going to show up. They're still on the way because you saw that clip with the ship that was going. They shot the engine like, hey, you better stop it. And then they went over there and like, you cannot be doing this. And so this is becoming very clear that if this oil sits there for too long, they're going to start losing real money. It could be problematic for them. We'll cover that. Trump warns Iran can't blackmail us. As crisis deepens in Strait of Hormuz, Iran fully closes Strait of Hormuz over U.S. blockade and fires on ships. We'll address that. Anchor babies recently reached nearly 10% of all U.S. births. Well, tax fever is spreading to less wealthy states. And by the way, how much money do you think Newsom spent from his PAC to promote his book to make it a bestseller? Did you hear about this brilliant strategy? Don't you just love it? He had like $1.5 million spent to buy his books just to help it become a bestseller. We'll address that. James Carville, extremely, bitter human being. He flat out said, I'm proud to be one of those TDS, unlike these center type of bullshit like Bill Maher and the rest of the folks. I really have TDS, and there's some of us still left. And he reveals what Democrats should do if they win. I think you ought to pay attention to what he's saying because he's been a heavyweight. And he says, do it. Don't say you're going to do it. Just do it, which is a big difference, right? Like, gain the power and do all this stuff. Don't promote it. But we'll address that. Ilhan Omar blames accounting error for claiming she was a multimillionaire. Oh, because we all make that mistake.
I've done it so many times, Pat.
You were almost $2.8 billion last year.
I was,
but it was an accounting error.
$28,000 net worth.
I told the IRS I was basically broke. They still wanted the money.
Yeah, they don't
Newsom PAC bought. Okay, California Dems bid hit $2 billion budget accounting error for months. Meta's about to cut 8,000 jobs. Elon Musk proposes universal high-income payments to address AI-driven job placement. And then Netflix co-founder Reed Hastings is resigning and stepping down. Apparently, a lot of people are canceling their Netflix subscription because they're again raising prices. And the one thing I'm privately looking forward to, which I hope this happens, Barkley makes a revelation about his fractured friendship with Michael Jordan after 14 years feud. I would love to see a Barkley and Jordan conversation, kneecap to kneecap, to go through stuff over the years. We have to talk about the gunman in Louisiana that killed 8 children, including 7 of his own. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody kill 7 of their own kids. This guy did. Just a complete tragic story. Wait till you see what the story behind it is. Kash Patel announced live on Fox News, arrests are coming, and I promise you it's coming soon. There was another story that came out that Kash Patel has a drinking problem and he may be losing his job. But apparently the same person that wrote the article, based on what Tom said, wait till you hear about the person that wrote the article in the past, had to redact. What did the writer have to do in the past?
In the past, redacted parts of it and retract.
Retract, parts of it. So we'll address that. And then gas prices. You know, it's interesting when you look at these gas prices with the state of California, the numbers are very weird. Okay, the national gas prices right now for diesel are 543. In national, it's 543. But in the state of California, 752. And in the lowest states, 459. How the hell is California $2 higher than the national average and $3 more than the lowest state? And, maybe that's the reason why so many people have left the state. And then we got a few other things that we'll get into if we get the time. Maybe the best news of the day, probably. I mean, listen, there's a lot of stories, but there isn't many stories as important as this one. From the day that Mamdani hugged the mascot, April 9th, the Mets had already lost a game prior to that because their first loss was Mets' last victory was on April 7th.
Weird.
They lose a game on the 8th. Mamdani hugs the mascot. Beautiful mascot.
Two of them.
Vinny
Mr. and Mrs.
mascot.
Met.
Vinny really liked one of the mascots.
Yeah.
And then after the hugs, the Mets have been on an 11-game losing streak. I'd love it if Mamdani goes to the Mets games every night, spend as much time with them as possible. We want to thank Mamdani for his contribution to the 11-game losing streak with the Mets. Hopefully, he'll continue going to the game. Imagine if the Mets announced Mamdani is no longer allowed to come to the
that'd be
Mets game.
fantastic.
That'd be a great story. All right. Having said that, for those of you that look forward to the Monday morning podcast, when we do this, we got a lot of stories to cover. I want to share with you guys again, like literally, yesterday I went to a game. Dylan had a back-to-back football game yesterday. I'm watching it, and I was wearing the white FLB shoes. And it's great when you sit on the side and you put your foot over, which I can't do with my right knee, but I can do with my left knee because the right knee's got the torn ACL and the MCL.
Ouch.
But when you have the bottom of the shoe that reads, future looks bright, these shoes,
Pops.
Today I'm wearing them. Every single day, this is all I wear when it comes onto the shoes. The level of comfort I have is amazing. And by the way, for some of you guys that haven't worn it, go read the reviews from the people that have purchased the shoes. See what they're saying about the shoes. Rob, if you have the commercial, go ahead and play it real quick about the FLB shoes. If you haven't yet ordered them, you may want to consider purchasing one now. Go ahead, Rob. When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. Go to vtmerch.com, place your order, get one for yourself, get one for your husband, your son. Even Adam's got one on today, and I think even Vinny's got one on today.
Can I be dead serious?
Tell me.
Even Adam last week was like, bro, even Tom, like, you're wearing them? Like, because think about it. You would think that these are just for suits and stuff, which we're wearing slacks. I'm wearing them with jeans and slacks.
Everything.
I'm not BSing. In the mall, I just don't like, and they're slip-on.
Let's do a game of slap boxing.
Yeah.
The future looks bright.
They're gonna pay for it. They're gonna pay
Me and
a
you,
lot.
buddy.
Okay, so go to vtmerch.com, place your order. Having said that, let's get right into it. First story I want to talk about, Rob, if you want to pull this up, is J.D. Vance is still going to Islamabad, 18 hours. And word on the street is that IRGC is not going to show up. U.S. is saying they are going to show up. And it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening here. Go ahead, Rob.
Hi, Kevin. So negotiations are back on despite some back and forth reporting that we had seen earlier on in the day. The White House tells Fox that Vice President J.D. Vance will be in attendance and he will be leading the delegation back in Pakistan once again. And it comes as the clock is ticking to reach a new deal because we know that this current ceasefire deal, this 2-week deal, is set to expire on Wednesday. So there's a lot of diplomatic efforts ramping back up once again to land a new deal before then. After those historic face-to-face talks last weekend, Vice President Vance will be joined once again by envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. Yesterday, Iran said that it received new proposals from the U.S., and the country's deputy foreign minister warned that a framework of understanding must be agreed to first. President Donald Trump today posted on Truth Social, writing, quote, "We're offering a very fair and reasonable deal, and I hope they take it, because if they don't, the United States is going to knock out every single power plant, every single bridge in Iran." So the president facing some quick criticism because of those words this morning, but also over the war in general. Take a listen.
American troops have died, others are being injured, and Americans are paying $1 more for gas because of President Trump's war of choice. I think it is very, very
pause it right here. By the way, while this is happening, Iran refuses to join latest round of peace talks as Trump sent top envoy to Pakistan. Rob, I think you got a video on this one as well. Claim U.S. has unrealistic demands. Iranians are saying unrealistic demands. Tom, what do you think is going to happen here?
So I felt like this was coming all weekend. It's like the shoe's going to drop. Here we go. They're either going to break the ceasefire or they're going to do something. I was almost certain. I'm just kind of waiting for it. And then I saw, hey, the blockade was serious because, they radioed to a ship, hey, you better hang on. You're going to get hit. And they hit the engine room. They said, now you guys all evacuate, get out of there. So they were trying to hit the ship, but at the same time, be, and it's hard to use this word in war, but to be humane about it, to say, hey, I don't want to kill your sailors, but that ship's going where it shouldn't be going. Bang. And that happens.
You want to play that real quick, Rob? So this is the clip Tom is talking about. Go for it.
Gangster.
Motor vessel Tosca. Vacate your engine room. Vacate your engine room. We're prepared to subject you to disabling fire.
Not listening. Not listening. Just watch. It's coming.
Oh.
So they hit the engine, and then this is what you're talking about, Tom, that they took over the ship.
Yep. And this is a 5-inch gun. These aren't torpedoes. They're not trying to sink it and create an environmental disaster. They're trying to put 2 right through the hole into the engine room and disable it. That sort of like, I warned you, and now they got to get tugboats and tow it off someplace. And that's when you're in the middle of a blockade, I was reading about this weekend, this is the military technique when you don't want to have like oil and a huge environmental crisis on the shores of maybe innocent countries. Not the one on the north, but certainly there's several on the south that are just sitting there. And so like I said, I was waiting for the Iran to break the ceasefire or to refuse or to be difficult, like right at the last minute. They're playing along, bang, and then this on the blockade. So to me, this kind of happened right on time. This is what I was expecting. At the last minute, things are going to crack.
No, it just brings up something that we've talked about a lot, which is asymmetrical warfare, that Iran can kind of be reckless. It can push things. It just has to get through one time. It has to have one mind go off. It has to disrupt one thing. Trump has to be 100% right 100% of the time. And, it's really interesting because it becomes a global issue. So Trump's not just worried about the United States. Now he has the pressure of the entire world on his back, which is just such a hard place to be in. So I'm hoping this comes to some kind of conclusion fast. I'm hoping this doesn't continue to drag on and drag on and drag on.
Adam.
So there's talks going on in Islamabad, Pakistan. Islamabad, Pakistan. Do you think that the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, with their capital of Islamabad, is being unbiased? Maybe. I don't know. It's actually the United States who chose Islamabad to hold peace talks. Why? Because where else are you going to go? Islamabad basically is brokering a ceasefire. Remember Trump brokered a ceasefire between Pakistan and India. There's a relationship there. We see what's going on there. But the whole context of this Trump's war of choice, Trump chose this. No. The United States, all our presidents, all our leaders, they've been speaking out against this for almost 50 years. Mm-hmm. Trump had the balls to do something about it. The weakness, the fecklessness of the left and the woke Reich is actually alarming. Rob, do you have that clip of the guy with Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris, projected potential president, 2028, challenger to run. I don't know if you can fast forward this clip. Here's a lifelong Democrat basically saying, I can no longer vote Democrat because of what? The hypocrisy. Here's her basically saying the number one enemy, the number one threat geopolitically is Iran. This is Kamala Harris 2 years ago. I want to know what changed. Can we go to the beginning of that clip, Rob? It's at the very beginning, right? When she says, I'm a Kamala Harris voter. It's the first sentence.
And I thought she would be a great president. Until very recently when I saw her comments about the war in Iran.
I'm about to pass
I'm going to play some clips from before the election and from after the war.
He's a Bills fan.
He needs
See what you think.
Foreign country do you consider to be our greatest
If we play
adversary?
this, Rob, it's 60
I
minutes.
think there's
Okay, stop.
Okay, we can't play it?
No.
Point is,
can't play 60 minutes.
Sorry about that, Rob.
Yeah.
The point is, she says Iran. So our greatest, what did he say, enemy? Did he greatest geopolitical threat? Whatever it was, she said Iran. What changed, guys? I want to know what changed. What changed is Trump did something about it. So now the entire identity of the left is Trump's bad. I wish one thing. I wish the left loved America as much as they hated Trump. It's crazy. And if I can continue for 10 more seconds, this flag that I wear everywhere, I gave Tom one today. You want to know the craziest thing? People come up to me and they go, so you're a Republican, right? I go, why would you say that? They go, because you're wearing an American flag. I go, so what are you saying? The American flag only represents Republicans. They go, well, you know, like, yeah, Republicans tend to like the flag more. I go, what a sad state of affairs, buddy. That the American flag only represents one party. What a shame. I wish Democrats were more patriotic.
Well, my thing is, there is no way that our government, the president, everybody didn't know this is what they were going to get with Iran. Like, and you said Islamic Republic. These people are on a mission from God. Okay, they don't care about their own citizens' lives. So I'm shocked why this is a surprise. If you get into a wrestling match with a pig and you come out and you go, "What the? I'm dirty." That's not like it doesn't make sense to me. They knew it was going to be like this. They're not going to quit. They're not going to stop, and that's why the two main parts of the mission were taking over, getting rid of the Ayatollah and all those things, but the uprising, the people, this is not going to stop. Do you think the IRGC and these maniacs are going to stop doing it? This is going to be endless, Adam, because think about it. If you don't care about your own citizens, you have the army, they're going to keep, nope, because you know what they want to do? Their mission is let Trump bomb all the plants, let Trump bomb all the oil plants, so we'll show the world how messed up these people are and watch, because dude, if they and by the way, it'd be their fault, but if they do that, imagine how many people that aren't radicalized there around the world are going to get radicalized because they're going to go, oh, he is a tyrant.
So this did to Pat's question when we started this segment. Did this surprise you? With
not at all, Tommy. Not at all. Because you're like, how many times do we say we don't negotiate with terrorists? The leadership, the Ayatollahs, Tom, they're on a completely different, like when I say mission from God, Tom, that's who they're answering to. They're saying God is making them.
Rob, can you pull up this clip I just sent you, which is all the presidents are speaking about on Iran. I just texted to you. And yeah, this one right here, if you can play this. Go ahead, Rob.
Formally announcing my intention to cut off all trade and investment with Iran.
Our second goal is to prevent regimes that sponsor terror from threatening America or our friends and allies with weapons of mass destruction. Iran aggressively pursues these weapons and exports terror, while an unelected few repress the Iranian people's hope for freedom.
I strongly believe that our national security interest now depends upon preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
What I can say to you, Iran will never get a nuclear weapon on my watch, as they say.
This terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, so everybody talked about it. One guy is doing something about it. So you kind of have to see how, this is another meme that's going viral. Iran took hostages. They're evil. They're a real threat. They're sponsoring terrorism. They're killing Americans. They're building nukes. We have to stop them. Okay. It's like, all right, I'll do it. No, you're the enemy. You're the bad guy, that's doing something like this.
There's certain uncomfortable realities that Americans have to accept because Iraq really changed the sentiment of war in the United States for a very long time. That was, it should have been Iran, not Iraq. And
exactly.
But the big reality here that everyone has to accept, whether they like it or not, is you have a radical Islamist regime that lied not only about its nuclear development, it enriched uranium well past 60%, it's the only non-nuclear country in the world to do that, but also lied very clearly about its ballistic missile range. And those are two very scary things. Even if you're not scared of the uranium, they've proved to us they lied about the range of the missiles they are developing, and going from intermediate range ballistic missiles to long range ballistic missiles is not a big jump. And we do not have any type of blanket missile defense system in the United States. It makes us very vulnerable. So do you want to, we keep pushing it back, and people say we've been saying this for decades. Yes, but there is a breaking point. Like I said earlier, Iran only has to be right once. If that day comes where they do have long-range ballistic missiles, even just dirty bomb tipped, right? They don't have to actually be nuclear warheads. That is devastating for the United States. So again, do you wait? No, Trump did the right thing.
But here's my question to you. And by the way, I was in the Air Force, he was in the Army. We're not going to sit here and pretend like we're four-star generals with all the military strategic planning. But okay, you know what the leadership, Tom, let's maybe we're in the situation room. Okay, guys, they have that capability. We bombed, we took out their nuclear capabilities. Okay, how are you going to win this? Because the leader, every time you kill a leader, there's another one coming in. They control the arm. But here's the thing.
I got an idea. I'll send him a big pallet full of money. That's what I'm thinking.
No, Obama.
Anybody
we
have
can't
an
do
extra
that.
Salem?
But my thing is this: how do you achieve victory? So let's just say the missiles are gone, the nukes are gone, the leadership is still there, and they're never going to listen to you.
Yeah. So there's again an uncomfortable truth. There's a difference between being able to exert external force and being able to exert internal force. The idea that we'll be able to win a victory over Iran, where they can no longer, push internal force is very unlikely. That's the truth. It's an almost impossible battle. You have a regime there that's willing to massacre its own people. But the idea that we can set them back decades in their ability to hurt externally, sadly, is, again, it's an uncomfortable idea that you're putting them back in the Stone Ages.
Yeah.
But that is the only way you protect the rest of the world at some point.
But now but remember those people, those millions of people now, they're sitting there like, wait a minute, hello, what?
I really want to address this with you because I feel like we're going in circles sometimes.
I don't.
And I love you.
We're going in circles at all.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
You're focused on the people of Iran. I hear you.
On top of hold on. But let me clarify.
You want to clarify what about that?
On top of the nuclear, the epic fury, all that. I love that.
Okay.
But being from Iran, our family's from Iran. At the end of the day, all that. Thank God they bombed all that stuff. What about the people that were dying at them that were like, yeah, help is here. And now it's just like, well, the nukes and stuff are gone. Good luck.
Help is on the way. Help is here. I mean, Trump has been talking about this since he started running for election. We just showed the clip of every single president talking about this. Trump did something.
Yes.
Marco Rubio, Trump, they've laid out their agenda. We're going to take out all their military assets. Their navy's in the bottom of the sea. They can't produce new military weapons. There's rumors that they're putting shadows of planes out there. So the U.S. is bombing shadows because they don't have real planes. Okay, nuclear ambitions, put that aside. You, Vincent, my brother, are hyper-focused on the people of Iran, as I understand. I think that's great. Of course we want that. Here's the sad reality. So we don't continue to go and do this. They're going to have to figure that out on their own. We talk about we don't want boots on the ground. Well, which one is it? Because we can't do regime change unless we put boots on the ground. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. We can do all the heavy lifting. But if there's going to be actual change in Iran, the people have to do that. Now, you might say, how are they going to do that? I don't know. Pat doesn't know. We don't know. What we can do, like Elon said, the external situations, the nuclear, the warheads, the shooting it 2,000 miles to Europe, that's done. So now whatever happens internally, we literally mean God bless, Allah bless, figure it out, but we can't do the revolution for you. Like the United States Revolution, when we did this, we're like, hey guys, the British. It's like, no, you got to do this, George Washington. You got to sign the Declaration of Independence, guys. And that's what we did. And that's the unfortunate situation.
Adam, to be fair,
they're going to have to do that.
A lot of support from France.
Yeah,
our revolution, France gave us, deception and.
But did they? But were they boots on the ground? Were they fighting, or was Americans fighting?
There were French. There were French here.
Yeah.
You're telling me that the French fight?
They were fighting.
No, but
Come on now, buddy.
at a minimum, we should provide the Iranian people with some kind of auxiliary support. However, we can do that.
We
if
are.
There is,
Are we
We
not?
tried, but no, the Kurds took the guns and they left. We tried to help them. They were just like, hey,
that story kind of came and went. I'm not even sure.
Yeah,
what
well,
happened.
so did the guns.
But Pat, let me bring this back to you.
Kurds took them.
I think that you understand everything that Trump is doing, from the nuclear ambitions to the military to the warheads of everything, the blockade, the economic warfare. Focus on the people. If that's what should the people of Iran do at this point? The 10,000, 50,000, whatever the number of the greatest people who were fighting against Sergeant Brown being killed. Is there sentiment of fighting on the ground? Are they going to weaponry? Like, what are they going to do from a people perspective?
Yeah.
But I want to understand this.
Yeah. So a couple things on the blockade of what's working and what's not. Every day the blockade is there, Iran loses $400 million a day.
400 million
Every
a day.
day the blockade costs Iran's government, the IRGC, $400 million a day, $12 to $13 billion a day of them selling oil.
Okay.
They can only, experts say they can only handle it up to 16 days. Some are saying 2 months. So they're right now like this.
They're getting choked up.
So the idea that they put a pause on it kind of helped Iran a little bit. Now, if they extend this and they have the blockade and you're saying they're stopping, 3 or 4 ships, hey, what are you doing? Turn around. You ain't doing this right now. You ain't selling it to nobody. Get your ass back into place. We're serious about this. Now Iran is sitting there saying, holy shit, this is becoming real. Now what am I going to do? I need the revenue. I need the money. I need the income. So how will Iran react? Yesterday there was a 60 Minutes episode on Iran. And Rob, were you able to find out about the guy that's on it or no? Were you able to find out who it is? So this is Matthew Bunn, okay? Harvard Kennedy School. Matthew Bunn, to just kind of give you an idea who he is, Bunn was served as a White House Office of Science and Technology from 94 to 96. 94 to 96, who would that be? Was that senior is who he was under?
Clinton.
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 Okay,
Clinton
so
was 92.
All right,
2000.
so 94, 96 is Clinton. So it's not like this is a Trump guy. He is doing an interview yesterday with 60 Minutes. And 60 Minutes doesn't know what this guy's going to say. Of course, we can't play the clip, but we can just show what he says with the content in the tweet, Rob, if you want to go to it. I highly recommend watching this. Everybody should watch this tomorrow. Just don't play the clip, Rob, because you know what 60 Minutes does. So UN, last time UN inspector were able to verify Iran had 970 pounds of 60% uranium, enriched uranium If enriched further, the stockpile could produce 10 to 11 nuclear bombs, says Matthew Bond, a former White House nuclear advisor who works at the Harvard Kennedy School Belfer Center. And then he also says this, which was kind of shocked a lot of people. Iran has been lying about its nuclear weapon effort for over 20 years now. He says, a former White House nuclear advisor who works at Harvard Kennedy School. Remember, this is a Clinton guy. If he's a Clinton or a Bush person, he's not a Trump person. Let's get that clear. Because Bushes don't like Trump, Clintons don't like Trumps. They're on the same page. So, there is the media market, what everybody reacts to and what they say. Then there is the people that were in there having dealt with Iran and knowing what these guys are like and how they lie when they're negotiating. Iran's in a very bad place. The challenge with the people is the following. They don't have somebody there, and I don't know why the president is not locking on to Reza Pahlavi. If he did, his strategy would be different. So think about it this way. Did you guys see Maria Corina Machado came up outside on the balcony, how the Venezuelans reacted to her? Did you see this clip? Rob, can you find this clip? Just type in her name and how she was received. It was beautiful on how she was received. What Trump wants to do and what he doesn't want to do, it's right there. Watch this, Vinny. Just watch the reaction, how she's being received.
Is this in Venezuela?
Can you go back to the tweet so I can read the details there? Venezuelan opposition leader Corina Machado walked out to a sea of thousands of supporters in Madrid.
Got it.
Machado has dedicated her Nobel Prize to she is refusing to meet Spain's leftist PM Pedro Sanchez right now. Instead, meeting with right-wing opposition, right-wingers must rise across Europe. Okay, so play the clip, Rob. Play the clip.
Oh my! Oh, is that real?
No, this is real.
Holy moly!
This is Spain.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Okay,
Spain loving her.
That's right. This is Spain. Now you got to realize this Spain's leader has been also getting a lot of attention because Trump and comments he made, he went against him, so he's kind of playing. But this is kind of where I'm going with you, Adam, to answer your question about the people. So the difference between Reza Pahlavi and her is what? She got a Nobel Prize. She went to the White House. She gave it to Trump. Everybody thought Trump was going to get behind her, and Trump's like, no, your people got to vote for you. So if you look at the pattern there, what do Iranians have to do with this guy? If Iranians really want to play, use a similar type of a playbook, because this guy's getting audiences that are showing up as well. But Trump is not going to get behind to say, we're going to endorse you, the same way he did with Maria Corina Machado. So honestly, he has to be able to convince the U.S. government that the military has flipped on them and is supporting him, and he simply doesn't have that. You could have the people. You could have audiences showing up in Germany. You could have audiences showing up all over the place. And by the way, they are for this guy. But you got to get the military to flip. If the military people are not flipping, you ain't going to have a lot of, you need some of the military, even if it's 5%, 10%, 20%, to stand up and say, hey, this is what we're going to be doing. It hasn't happened yet. And so influence-wise, they got to find somebody internally. Iran's market's not going to let that happen because the internet, where people cannot communicate the message out, it's still kind of tough to be able to do it. So Iran's issue is different. So the president is probably thinking the idea of a regime change and a regime collapse, the regime, he can technically say it's changed. Why? Because it's new people, hasn't collapsed.
Nope.
Yeah.
If IRGC is there 3 months from now, there is no collapse.
Yeah.
You can say, Khamenei is not there, his son took over. You can say you killed 50 different people. So as long as IRGC is there, the Iranian people are going to be screwed because of the way they're going to be treated.
Quick follow-up on that to you. So you're talking about the power. Who has the power? By the way, has anyone even seen the new Ayatollah? Allegedly, he's in a coma. I know you think he's gay. Whatever the hell is.
I didn't say
I don't know what's going on. But follow the money here. If you're saying that they're losing $400 million a day, okay, how many billions is that going to be this month?
12 to 13 billion a month. They can't afford to lose that kind of money.
They're choking them out.
Yeah, they are.
And if they can't pay their proxies, which is done, if they can't pay their IRGC, the people have no money. What's going to happen to the society?
If you choke them out, how do you get rid of the IRGC?
That's the question.
So if they're saying, well, they've agreed to a 15-year suspension on, uranium enrichment and all this other stuff. What the hell is 15 years? The problem, like for example, I don't care if certain countries have nuclear enrichment or the power if they're allies and they're friendly. Who do you care about not having it? People who are screaming off the top of their lungs, death upon America. Yeah, that's a little bit concerning to give you that. And say 15 years? So what makes you think in 15 years? How old is AOC in 15 years, Rob? 50? I don't know how old she is right now. 34? 33? 35? 36. How old is she today? 36? Yeah. In 15 years, she's 51. Say America gets crazy. Who was Obama doing the whole song and dance thing with the kids, with Mamdani in a classroom? I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
Yep.
So Obama was at first too careful to get too close to an Islamist socialist, semi-communist. He did. Now they're doing this. Optics-wise, go ahead and play this clip, Rob. What do you think this is? You can play the clip. What do you think this is? Tell me what optics are. If the number one Democratic influencer in the last 30 years gets in front of is this not a form of endorsement?
Yes.
This is an endorsement.
Oh, yes.
Well, that's some indoctrination
Shortly
right there.
after, by the way, his wife was caught with all those crazy comments online.
And gay, yeah.
And he's Obama's right there.
Obama, so meaning they're going to. And by the way, this leads to the following. Let me go to the James Carville tweet. I don't know if you guys saw this or not on the podcast. James Carville, who's a big Democratic advisor, said this on the podcast. We won't play the clip because it's very long, but I'll just read it to you. James Carville joined the podcast, stated on a left-wing Polycon podcast that when the Democrats regain power, they plan to, ready, grant statehood to D.C. and Puerto Rico so the Democrats can unlock 4 extra seats in the Senate. You know they're all going to be on the left. Pack the U.S. Supreme Court with 9 justices from 9 to 13, adding another 4 left-wing justices to the court. It's going to be hard, but that's what they want to do. Reopen the U.S.-Mexico border and grant mass amnesty to every single alien currently inside the U.S. And last but not least, don't run on it. Don't talk about it. Just do it. You don't think Democrats are going to get into the White House soon?
Well,
you don't think they're going to be in there? You don't think they're going to have control? So then what are they going to do? So then how are they going to negotiate with Iran? Are they going to be as strong? Are they going to be as aggressive? Are they going to unpack? What is the money supply that's sitting there that they want to release back to Iran? $20 billion?
Yeah, and everybody says, oh, now Trump wants to give them money.
Yeah.
No, that's their funds that we have frozen the
that's
accounts so that they can't buy bad things with it at the moment.
Elon.
That's it. It's not a a gift the way Obama did.
I mean, you want to talk about a threat to America, that tweet pretty much sums it up. We're so distracted from so many other things that someone can come out and say that and we don't even focus on it, take it seriously. So I'm very, very worried about our future in our next election. As for Iran internally, like you were saying, if you put more pressure on the IRGC, if you keep chokeholding them, you would hope that there would be some kind of internal fracture that takes place eventually that does cause the people to rise up, does cause the people, part of the military, to fracture and side with them. But it's just so ugly and messy in the process that I think a lot of people don't have the stomach for it. So I don't know.
They don't have that much time, by the way. The U.S. doesn't have that much time.
Yeah.
They have honestly, like if I were to give you a timeline, you have 45 days.
Do you not think, though, that there is some fracture happening with
I do think, absolutely. I think they're making progress. I love the fact that the ship stood in front of him and said, hey, guy, turned around, boom, boom, boom. Hey, you're this, come on here, engine. That's a statement to the world that, hey, this is not just a threat. And for him to say, so now imagine if this gets to the point. So let's kind of play this out. J.D. Vance goes, and imagine IRGC doesn't show up. So, Tom, that's kind of like I sent Tom to negotiate, and the other guys all of a sudden punk Tom, and they don't show up. Let me ask you, are they really punking Tom or are they punking me?
Punking you.
They're not punking Tom.
Yeah.
Okay, so how am I going to react? How is he going to react? So think that for a second. So JD goes to Islamabad. Now, we know 90% chance they're showing up because they talk a lot of shit, but they're going to show up. But say the 10% they don't show up. Say the 10% they don't show up. Maybe if the 10% they don't show up, what percentage of Iranians is like, yeah, attack our own people? We want it because we want that story. If you don't show up, it's your way of saying, we want the blood on your hands.
100%.
Do it.
Tactic. Yeah.
Do it because the world's going to turn against you even more. Go ahead and do it. They will sympathize with us, not with you. Go ahead and attack us. So run a poll real quick, Rob. Let's see what the smartest audience in the world, who is very well balanced, will be saying here. Do they believe the IRGC will show up when J.D. Vance arrives in Islamabad? Rob, can you run that poll? I know you listened to 2 different clips. What clip is this, Rob, that you just pulled up as well?
This is the Iranian foreign minister. This was late last night where he talks about Iran participating in the peace deals in Pakistan.
That they are going to show up.
No.
Go ahead. Seems nervous.
First of all, up until this very moment, we do not have any plans for the next round of negotiations.
Okay.
Decision.
By the way, play it again for 5 seconds. Play it again for 5 seconds. He doesn't know if he wants to say anything.
Nervous.
First of all, up until this very moment, we do not have any plans for the next round of negotiations.
He's a target. His house is like worried. Yeah, his days are numbered. If he's talking like his days are numbered. But the point being the following. The point being the following. What happens if they don't show up?
Well, if they don't show up.
Say JD lands. He lands. You're there. Witkoff, Kushner, they're there. And they don't show up. What does Trump do?
Well, Trump's been shown that he's willing to escalate. That's one thing Trump has.
Do you think Iran believes that at this point?
100%.
I agree.
But what I will say is this.
They better
the
take
world
every single
has
one
learned,
of Trump's threats seriously as like a heart attack.
But you're absolutely right in what you said is that the world has learned, the worst regimes in the world learned, that the way they can win a war is by the suffering of their own people, which is a terrible, terrible place to be. So Iran has the ability to massacre its own people, use its own people as essentially human shields. And then when they die, they go, they know there's tons of world pressure now. Stop the violence, stop the violence, stop the violence.
Yeah,
but it's not going to work.
Well, hold on.
Can I tell you why?
Well, because not even a minute. If Trump goes through with it and bombs the power grid and their oil, the people are going to die. Forget about all the older people. Like, people are going to die. And like, I heard somebody be like, well, maybe that's going to be the camel that broke the camel's back, the straw that broke the camel's back, and make the people finally revolt. I'm like, no, they're going to have nothing. They have nothing. What are they going to do? Throw rocks at their own government? No, bro. If that happens, Pat, it's going to be very, very, very bad.
Two clips I want to show you that, Adam. I'm going to come to you. Number one, here's what the president said. The president said the following: I'll just let him say it. Go ahead.
Excuse me, but in any event, we'll get it. Go ahead.
If you don't have a deal by Wednesday when the ceasefire ends, will you extend the ceasefire or will you start attacks again?
Maybe I won't extend it.
Okay.
But the blockade is going to remain. But maybe I won't extend it. So you'll have a blockade, and unfortunately, we'll have to start dropping bombs again. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. I think it's going to happen.
What about the UFOs, Mr. President?
Say UFOs at the end?
Yeah.
They're trying.
So that's Trump. And then Fetterman. Rob, do you have the exact time when he says that, or no? Go for it.
I might be the only Democrat that supports, what's happened through Epic Fury, but I am the only Democrat, definitely in the Senate, and now the only Democrat in Congress, I think now, to support Epic Fury at this point. And I'll never understand why my party just can't just see that there's been a lot of good developments through a lot of these things. I mean, I don't, to pulverize the Iranian military. Every single Democrat has said we can never allow Iran to acquire a nuclear bomb. And now they've been the evil regime. And I think eliminating their leadership is a strong development too. And Hezbollah, that's one of their proxies. And it's tremendous the way Israel has to neutralize them to the point where now they're begging for a ceasefire now too.
You can pause that right there. Adam.
Look, there's one person in charge of the world right now. Whether you like him or not, it's Donald Trump. He's the big baller, shot caller. Everyone else is just noise. Trump is the signal. So do you think Trump can be easily swayed by anybody at this point? Do you think that Trump is, controlled by Israel, cares what other people think? Trump's fighting with one hand behind his back. Remember the scene in Gladiator when Joaquin Phoenix goes...
hugs him, embrace me, brother.
Embrace me, brother, and stabs him. And then he comes down there in the world. And what does Russell Crowe do? Still wins. I mean, he obviously died in the end, but he killed the guy. Trump's fighting the left, one hand behind his back. He's fighting the media. He's fighting the globalists. He's fighting the Islamists. He's fighting everybody, and he's winning. Can we address the fact that we're winning? Trump, 10 years ago, we're going to win so much, you're going to get sick of winning. We'd always be like, what does that even mean? This is what that means. Show me how.
Wow, it's too early.
That U.S. No, I'm saying right now.
Yeah.
Show me how U.S. is losing because you're paying an extra dollar
US
at
is
the
not
pump.
losing.
No,
Like,
not, that's a
Show
whole
me how U.S. is losing.
But Adam,
because you're paying an extra dollar at the pump.
not extra dollar, but groceries and hold on. We talked about
God.
hold on. But Adam, did you hear Carville? You heard that warning? If we don't do
that's noise.
That's the real loss.
Adam, no,
that's not noise.
it's Adam. You can't dismiss that.
What is
because
Carville?
Look how
Carver
serious
hasn't
the
been relevant since
Adam,
1994.
Adam, no.
And now we're taking what he says
But
pathetic.
it's not just him; it's the entire left, and they're going to gain momentum.
Adam,
because of what?
Adam,
because we're winning.
Because they
war of
fractured
choice.
because of all the stuff that's going on. But you can't. You have to admit, and I even wrote this down, Adam, how serious it is. If we don't get voter ID and the mass deportation, which it seems like they just stopped because it didn't look good in Minnesota. If they don't do the SAVE Act, Adam, we're toast. I'm sorry.
You're conflating all the issues.
We're winning.
Let him say his thought. And I got some thoughts, and I want to go to the next.
They're going to get if Kalshi and all these predictive markets are right, Adam. It's not even a question about the House and the Senate, and they're going to go after.
Too early to tell.
Let me tell you this.
Too early to tell.
Let me tell you one thing you got to be thinking about. If you could have Iran's on the deal, say we are able to do a regime change. IRGC's gone, new regime, no nuclear, they're peaceful, market opens up, sanctions lifted, Iran becomes open. Matter of fact, we're going to go to Iran, do a podcast 2 years from now. Okay, let's just put that as one of them.
God.
2, voter ID, okay, where everybody now has to go through voter ID, every single state, every single this, you get that one. 3, You get 2 additional Supreme Court justice seats in there, let's just say 4. You win midterms and you win 2028, and it continues. What else you want to add on that list, Tom? Do you want to? What other issues that are important?
I'm loving what I'm hearing.
No, but give me what else.
Voting
what
for
else?
that.
You've got the Supreme Court decision on gerrymandering on district.
Perfect gerrymandering. What else you want to add on that list? Here's what I want you to do.
Yep.
Pick only 2 of them. Not you first. I know where one of yours is going to be. What are your 2 out of those 5? Out of those 5 things I just said, what are your 2?
Voter ID is, if we don't.
I think for me, it's 1 as well.
Okay, voter
I'm
ID.
also voter ID.
And then midterms 2028, we have to win
so
Palace.
midterms 2028 is.
Midterm 2026.
26.
And then you said the
Election
presidency in
2028.
2028.
Tom, what's your top 2?
Well, voter ID solves a bunch of the things that are in there.
That's right.
Yes, I agree.
Gerrymandering and other
I
things.
agree.
You can gerrymander a district with a bunch of
Yep.
illegals in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you have voter ID, you
cancel
that's
it.
number
I'm
1
with
for me.
you.
So Save Act, voter ID, number 1 for me. Number 2 for me is now it's mitigating damage for 26.
It's the midterms.
But if theoretically Iran was
So
resolved,
you're okay if Iran doesn't get resolved. It's not your top 2, top 3.
No. It's absolute. That's my given. So,
But no, that's the reason why I'm asking this is I don't think for everybody it's their top 2. That's kind of where I'm going.
for
I
most
don't
Americans,
think,
it's
America-
Well, it is my
sure
top-
your top 2.
I'm America
Is
first.
what?
By the way,
Iran, IRGC is gone.
Yep.
No more nuclear threat. Okay. Sanctions are lifted. The market opens up. They become like the new Dubai, new Saudi. You can go back and visit Iran. It's free. It's safe. That's one of the 5.
Yep.
Is that in your top 2?
Do you think that's in my top 2?
I would say it's 2, 3.
I have it as 4.
Okay.
Number 1 is the Save Act. I don't know if it's going to happen.
Good.
We got to protect America.
I love it.
Okay.
Like, that's number 1 to me.
All right.
America first.
What's your 2?
Okay. Number 2, if that gets done, midterms, well, it's too early to tell about midterms.
Right.
I've been around long enough that we're going to lose. It's going to be a red wave. I'm not there yet. Okay.
Try to give a short
Court,
answer. What's your
Supreme
2?
Court.
Okay.
Supreme Court is important.
Uh-huh.
But I'm old enough to remember when they were going to pack the court
Right.
5 years ago,
Okay, so then-
and they didn't do it.
So then,
From a foreign perspective,
Yeah.
yes, we're in the middle of Iran
Okay.
right now.
So-
but the average person doesn't wake up and think
so
about
now
what's going on in Hormuz
here's,
today.
Here's what I want you to think about. Take that list, and this is on a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Take that list and give it to the president. With him having access to all the information, how do you rank what's on his list?
Oh, wow.
And that's what matters because he got elected. Everybody else talks. Did you win an election?
Right.
Did you become a president?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get shot in the ear? Did you get all that stuff that happened? Did you go through all the criticism? Did they go through your wife's drawer? Did they go through all that? No, they did it to him. So guess what happens? And that's after winning, losing, and a lot of stuff is coming with 2020 election. That's not going to be pretty for all those guys that were playing games on the inside. And he doesn't give up and comes back and wins again. Yeah, guess what? That's how elections work. You know, when Obama at the, what was it, Tom, when he was giving one of the speeches at the House and somebody booed him and he looks at him and says, elections have consequences.
Boom.
Yeah.
I'm the one that won. Guess what? Obama was right.
Yes,
And
he
guess
was.
what? Trump is right. You know, so we'll see what he wants to do. But I will tell you, the concept of affordability is not going to be going away. Let me get into the next story here of what happened with the whole Pope Leo. So we know what happened with the comments towards Pope Leo said something about war. He's not supportive of war and what's going on. Trump responded back and said things about him. And then another reporter asked him a question and said, hey, what do you think about the 4 people that are being executed in Iran, with one of them being a woman? Trump responds back and says, why don't you ask the Pope? The Pope then responds and says the following. He says, Pope Leo says his tyrant's remarks were not aimed at Trump. Okay, is that a clip that you have, Rob?
Yes.
Is this it?
Yes, sir.
Go for it.
The world is being ravaged by a handful of tyrants, yet is held together by a multitude of supportive brothers and sisters. They are the descendants of Abraham, as numerous as the stars in the sky and the grains of sand on the seashore. Let us look into each other's eyes. We are this immense people. Peace is not something we must invent. It is something we must embrace by accepting our neighbor as our brother and as our sister.
Rob, nothing in that video was about Trump. So what do you want me to do with that video?
Well, that's so the very first portion.
Yeah.
That's the comment that they're saying he was making about President Trump. Pope Leo came out and said he was not calling.
He said it
Trump.
in this video. Maybe
Yeah.
I just wasn't listening.
It's very
It's the
first,
first
very
thing.
beginning.
I'm sorry, Rob. My mistake. Can you put that up again?
Sure.
The world is being ravaged by a handful of tyrants, yet is held together by a multitude of supportive brothers and sisters.
Did he say Trump?
No,
They are
this
the
is what they
descendant-
used to say that he was talking about Trump.
They're insinuating.
But is there a clip of him not saying anything about Trump? Because I thought he said that in the first.
No, he didn't.
He
So,
never mentioned
all right, so let me know. So Pope's Saturday remarks made this week in which the world is being ravaged by a handful of tyrants. The Pope's Angulo 10-day was prepared for 2-week comments as not accurate on all aspects, and his speech was prepared 2 weeks ago, well before the president ever commented on myself of the speech that I am promoting. He told Reuters, the news outlet cited that the Pope's saying comments were not aimed at Trump as it happens. It was looked as if I was trying to debate the president, which is not in my interest at all. So good for him for saying that. And then Pope Leo comes out and expands call for peace to perceived war of words with Trump, which is good that he's taking that direction. Rob, is this another clip by him?
This is.
Go for it.
Been a certain narrative that has not been accurate in all of its aspects, but because of the political situation created when on the first day of the trip, the President of the United States made some comments about myself. Much of what has been written since then has been more commentary on commentary, trying to interpret what has been said. Just one little example, the talk that I gave at the prayer meeting for peace.
Oh, this is the clip.
A couple days ago, was prepared 2 weeks ago, well before the president ever commented on myself and on the message of peace that I am promoting. And yet, as it happens, it was looked at as if I was trying to debate, again, the president, which is not in my interest at all.
By the way, I don't know about you. I love the way he communicates both messages. I absolutely love the way. And FYI, just so people know my position because of my response to Tucker Carlson when he said he made the comparisons of, now they're comparing Catholics to Nazis or whatever that was said. I expect the Pope to not want war.
Of course.
I expect the Pope to not want war. So to me, a part of it is like, he's supposed to not want it.
It's not controversial.
But by the way, the way he just communicated, you're seeing. I don't know the guy. When he first was elected, because he's a Chicago pro-Republican pro, and I know Charlie came out and says, look, I don't know where the verdict is still out. We're not going to know whether this guy's a globalist or not. The verdict's out, and, everybody was saying, well, let's wait to see what's going to happen with him. I like the way he communicated. I like the way the message he just gave. This is him representing 1.4 billion people, and my expectation of somebody in a figurehead like this is to say peace. You're supposed to say that. It's totally fine, and try to do your best to stay out of politics. Didn't the previous Pope do some events with transgenders, or I don't know what he was doing?
He bust them there, and it was pretty bad.
Yeah, so, and then Trump stands firm on his remark against the Pope. He hasn't changed his position. Rob, I don't know if you have a clip on that. Well, that's on the 16th, and Pope's comments were on the 18th, so it's kind of not fair to play that clip because it was a couple days prior to that. I will tell you this. The president is planning to join America Reads the Bible initiative amid spat with Pope Leo, and I don't know when this is going to be happening, so let me see where this is. President Trump on Friday announced that he will attend a marathon reading of the Bible amid his few. The group Christians Engaged listed Trump one of the many participants in the America Reads the Bible event, which starts Saturday evening and runs for a week. The president sent a statement that he applauds every citizen, including every citizen participating in the America Reads the Bible initiative. Together, we will honor Holy Scripture, renew our faith, usher in historic resurgence of religion on American shores, and rededicate the United States as one nation under God. Beautiful. Elon, your thoughts on this?
Well, I just think it's a reminder of the fundamental difference between moral authority and political authority. I'm really happy that the Pope came out and made that distinction super clear. And I agree with you entirely. I think it's nuts that people think the Pope calling for peace, which is the actual
Blessed are the peacemakers.
Message of Christ. What is the controversy there? But that's a perfect example of the media trying to create division, as always. So I like how it ended up, though. I like that we got to have that reminder.
So, number one, I respect the Pope, specifically this Pope. By the way, did you catch he's got a kind of a Chicago accent?
I love it.
The Pope from Chicago.
I love it.
Yeah, bear stuff, Pope, the Pope. He's doing great. Good for him. So here's what we also know. Stay in your lane. Trump has an agenda. And what we know about Trump, if you get in his way, you could be whoever coming down. You could be the Pope. You could be the Ayatollah. You could be rabbi, priest. Don't get in Trump's way. Like you said earlier, you wrestle with a pig. You're both going to get muddy, but the pig loves it. Just don't do it. I respect the Pope.
But all he said
By the way,
was
if we're
blessed
going
are
to
the
talk
peacemakers, and he got attacked.
Yeah,
that's not cool.
It was the media that.
It was the media that twisted.
Yeah.
So
And then
speaking
Trump
of the
followed
media
the media,
twisting it,
actually.
if you're going to talk about tyrants, name the tyrants then. Go ahead. If you're going to get involved in politics, whether you're the Pope or not, go ahead and say the tyrant's name. Trump's not on that list, guys.
But Adam,
no
can I ask you a
kings.
question?
Xi, Putin, Kim Jong-un, whatever Ayatollah's alive at this point. Maduro is in jail right now. Lukashenko in Belarus. There's a whole list of tyrants before Trump's name should even be mentioned. Last but not least, read the Bible. That's great. Good for Trump. I know you don't think Trump's a Christian or whatever.
He isn't.
Trump
He says
represents America. Trump's trying to put God first in America. Here's the last point. You want the left dictating biblical prophecy? You want the far left talking about God? They don't believe in God. Communists literally ban God. So whatever you think of Trump, at least he's serving the Lord above. I'll leave it at that.
Elon?
No, I was going to say that. Don't you still think it's? I mean, we know how Trump talks. We know how Trump is, but it's not a good look to go. You know, you're saying Trump will go after anyone who goes after him.
Sure.
The Pope is probably one of the few people you should give a little bit of.
I hear you.
A little
Now,
bit of
Rob, can you
lenience.
play this clip, Rob? Rob, can you play this clip? Anton did a poll on Pope Leo and Trump to show popularity, to show the influence the Pope has. This is important to know numbers like this and pay attention to it. Go ahead, Rob.
The American public at large, John, look at this. It is a blow on the net popularity rating. Pope Leo XIV at plus 34. Look at where Donald Trump is at minus 12. It's not even close. It's a nearly 50-point blowout amongst the American public at large. Pope Leo XIV absolutely crushing President Trump when it comes to how popular they are, at least as of the last month. And I will note that Pope Leo was the most popular person tested by
by the
NBC
way,
News.
when you see
I
this,
believe the president
so
is making
there's a part of
humongous
this poll when you look at it. It's mathematically impossible for the president's popularity to be higher than Pope Leo's.
Yeah.
Mathematically impossible. So I know this looks like,
who are they
oh my
polling?
God, maybe the Pope should run for office.
Right.
No, it's a different story when they're polling this. This was the list they made that who was the least disliked person? What was it? You guys remember it was Elon Musk and Bibi or something like that? And it was UPS. Some weird names were on that list. I don't know what was on that list.
UPS.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Tom, your thoughts on this?
So I was really irritated for most of this thing because number one, there's nothing to be gained to getting in a spat with the Pope.
No,
that's the one guy. There's just really nothing to be
Yeah.
gained. You got to back off. And I think and this may not be popular. I think Trump got baited because I think it was the news media that was trying to create the controversy. Because remember, anything that can make Trump look bad, they want to pin on him. Anything that they can create another group being upset, they want to create it. They want to foment. So it's basically the entire left wing. I'm gonna stop calling them the MSM. I'm gonna start calling them the Saul Alinsky gang, right? Because they're just using the same techniques, of the underground, right, to go and do this. And so it's like, hey, Mr. President, don't bite on these things, on this stuff like this. I think that's what happened, and it's annoying.
Well, BBD, can you help me be positive for a second? This is the first American Pope. We have a pro-America president. What can the Pope and Trump do to help unify America? Because the only way America's ever going to lose anything is if you manufacture the fracture.
Yeah.
If there's a fracture inside here. Have they met yet in person? What can they do to bring America together? What can the Pope and Trump do to work together to help America win more? Have you thought about that?
Listen, I don't know, but let me ask you a question. If you were a betting person, would you bet that the President Trump and the Pope are going to do something together before the end of the year?
They have to, yes.
What do you think?
I think this actually might turn out to be a good.
I know.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I actually think they're going to do something together because I think the Pope will. The Pope will do something together. Anything that brings more attention to the Christianity and the faith, you ought to do it. So I think that's going to be taking place. I was never a fan of the picture that was posted. I've never been a fan of stuff like that, ever. Never, ever play God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is if you ever read the book 40 Laws of Power, you know what law number 1 is?
Never outshine the master.
Never, ever, ever. And not only that's the book, and we're Assyrians, we learned the hard way. We're trying to, Vinny and I have been trying for 47 years to go back and do vacation at Assyria, the country. We're having a hard time finding the place.
Yeah.
It's not on the map, and there's a reason for that. Let me continue. Let me
Assyria.
continue. Yes. Assyria. Let me get to the next story here. Next story I want to get to is maybe a quick story. Rob, can you pull up this poll? You just had it. You had one of the tweets of showing which type of kids, do you know which one I'm talking about, Rob? Which political party deals with the most amount of mental illness? Have you seen this?
No.
Have you seen this, Vinny?
No. We
Check
can
this
imagine.
out. So make it bigger, Rob, so we can kind of show it to the audience. Watch this.
Oh my God.
Percentage of younger people diagnosed with a mental health problem, whites under the age of 40.
What?
Look at that. 56% of kids under the age of whites under 40 who are strong Democrats.
Wow.
41% of those that are weak Democrats, 35% of independents, 30% of weak Republicans, 50% of strong.
We found the cure. We found the cure to mental health issues.
It is.
Tom, how do you process this information, Tom, when you read
I'd like
this?
to thank you all for being here today. We'll be back Wednesday. I'd like to end on a high note. How do I process this?
How do you process
Look,
it?
I'll tell you how I process this. I would process on a processing line and on a logic line. So logic and emotion. You could draw the line of logic from strong Republican to emotion on strong Democrat. You could draw it that way. And I also, believe you could do processing, willingness to process. So close-minded. I think if you do close-minded versus open-minded, you know what I mean, Pat? Like willing to debate, willing to process. Hey, look, I'm open enough minded to listen to your point. You may not move me, but I'm willing to listen to your point. Who says that? Strong Republican or strong Democrat? No, the strong Republican says that. Willing to debate, willing to be open. Strong Democrat says, no, you're wrong. You should be canceled and shut down. So this lines up with me, and I think it lines right up with a logic and emotion line, and it lines right up with a willing to process, not willing to process. And guess what? Unwilling to process, closed-minded, and unwilling to debate, and you end up in your own anger. Guess what you have? You have these screaming middle-aged white women that we've seen in videos going, what is her problem and what is going on?
I think there's a major correlation here between what people use as their identity. If you looked at strong Democrats, they identify with material things like gender identity, their sexual orientation, all these things. You go down the list, you get to strong Republican, and their identity comes from faith. I've suffered from mental health issues. I've suffered from all types of stuff, and faith was the one thing that saved me. And I guarantee you, if you looked at that 15% strong Republican, the reason that it's so low comparatively is because they have something to root them.
What a great point. What a great point, Vinny.
I agree 100%. And if you think about it, you don't get the 56% by accident. When you raise a generation inside of a system that leads one way from top to bottom, think about it. And you mentioned this multiple times, Pat. The schools, the colleges, the professors, they're all pushing that woke agenda nonsense. It's hate, it's anger from the media, from all the fears, from all the crisis, from social media, from the gender stuff and everything. Fake news and all that stuff, that's them. When I was on Piers, Pat, I did that thing about before and after these people that have Trump derangement syndrome, and I tell people they just had everybody, and Trump, love him or hate him, however you feel, you have to admit what he did to the system made people go absolutely nuts. And I connected a guy yesterday, and I told him there should be a class action lawsuit, and I'm not being funny at all, for what they did to people's brains, because, bro, TDS is an actual thing where psychiatry,
I agree with you, Vinny.
Like, shouldn't they all get together and say, hey, you lied? And mind you, if Trump is out there, you think God came out of it, right? If Trump is out there and he's made, I think 60 or 70 million suing whoever he sued, all these major networks, because they lied. If you've ruined somebody's brain where they turned into a Carville and they're like, everybody, if that has happened to you, I think you should get a class action, get a lawyer and go and sue them. So that goes to the diagnosed with mental health problems. That's what it is. You don't talk to anybody. You're in your bubble. Your parents are just jamming drugs down your throat. You don't have any faith in you. You believe
Ritalin.
Yeah, what is a woman? If that's where you're at, this chart, by the way, the data is by the U.S. General Social Survey. This isn't some rinky-dink survey. This is legitimate, and I think it's just a testament, an example of what these people are just brainwashing you with when you're falling for it.
I did a study on mass psychosis. I don't know if you guys know the Ash experiment and Milgram experiment back in the day. Two very unique experiments to see how people could harm people in their own circle. One of them was the one where they literally put people into shock, authorities telling them to. The other one was about conformity, the Ash conformity experiment, where you had lines and people would literally deny what they saw with their own eyes because everyone else said these lines don't line up.
Yeah.
We're seeing that today with the Democratic Party. I did a social experiment where I had people come in. They thought they were on a TV show. Mm-hmm. They thought that they were there to cancel somebody. They had the choice. There were two other judges. There were social media influencers. Everyone was an actor except for them. They thought it was live TV. And we had a guy in the other room who had apparently wrote a book about affirmative action, was a lawyer. And because of the social pressure, every single person voted to cancel that person for his book and ruin his life. We made it harder because I wanted to see if humanizing people would work. We brought people into the room to meet him accidentally before, like in the waiting room. And then we came in, we said, oh, you weren't supposed to meet. Yeah. But while they were in the room, the fake lawyer, said, my daughter has leukemia. I wrote this book to take care of her. They still canceled him.
Oh my God.
When you want to understand, only one person was not willing to cancel him, and he had an emotional breakdown. When you want to understand how deep this is, I sat there watching, almost in tears, as I watched people proudly destroy someone's life whose daughter they believed had leukemia and needed this treatment. They did not care because he wrote a book on affirmative action.
Oh, wow.
So this is you're literally right when you say it's mass psychosis.
I think it is. I truly think it is. And it all started with Trump's victory.
So you're asking the question: what's the biggest difference between this chart between a far left Democrat and a far
And just a regular Republican.
I mean, there's a couple of things at the foundation. One believes in equality. One believes in equity. The foundation right there. One wants control. One wants freedom, liberty. Right? Remember the speech that the new face of the Democratic Party, Zoran Mamdani, gave on when he was sworn in? He says we're going to replace rugged individualism with the warmth blanket of collectivism, aka Marxism, aka communism, aka we're going to seize the means of production. Manufacture the fracture. What's going on here? Tom hit the nail on the head with emotions. You know, facts don't care about your feelings. You talk about not having God, atheism, anti-God. All of it leads to a point where they're going insane, and then you have just people with common sense being like, I don't like what's going on here. And they say something about it. I didn't get a chance to say it. Remember that video that you just played about Corina Maria Machado? And I go, is that in Venezuela? It goes in Spain. I don't know if you can pull that up, just the tagline. They said, all right-wing people need to realize what's going on. No. Common sense people. Because you don't need to. People ask you, are you a Republican? I go, I'm a common sense, bro. If I see the Republicans go off the Richter scale, I'll go back to the left. But at this point, here it is right
Let
here.
me tell you, though.
The left is so insane. How can you endorse that?
I get it. But to me, that entire chart, go back to that chart, Rob, and I want to play another clip that, Tom, you're probably not expecting me to play this clip, but I want to get your reaction to it. The only difference here is, which one of these guys you think goes to church the most?
The strong Republican?
The strong Republican.
Of course.
Kids who go, dude, we're on a flight. Like, listen, my boys, their faith, we're in the car and Vinny will say stuff and Dylan will, and that's what happened. And then Tico and Dan, they go to a school and they're heavily involved in it. But I will tell you, we're on the flight. I wish you were on this flight just to experience this with us. We're on the flight. We're traveling. We're 47 years old. This is top 5 worst flight of my lifetime. The pilot is deciding in terrible weather with strong winds to go around a mountain to a private airport that no one has been landing all day. Our pilot, okay, cowboy. This guy's like, hey, we're going to go do it.
Maverick.
And me and Vinny are sitting there in the back playing cards, very calm. We're not worried about we're like this, okay? And Dylan is just sitting there. Tico's talking to us. Senna's playing a joke with Vinny. She's like, hey, see you in heaven. And just joke. Not the types of jokes you're supposed to say.
No.
Like, they haven't been briefed on it yet. They got briefed afterwards. And then we land, and we're talking to Dylan. We're like, Dylan, you weren't scared at all? No. Why not? What's the worst thing that's going to happen? I'm going to meet Jesus.
Wow.
By the way, he says this, reaction like this. Reaction like this. I didn't have that as a kid.
Yeah.
Like this. Faith plays a massive, massive role in mental health problems. Because for you, no matter what you're going through, I had a conversation late last night with somebody that this is an area they really have a hard time with. It's a family member. And I'm on the phone. I'm like, I said, you got to figure out a way to get close because everything to you is the end of the world and everything is crisis. You don't even know it. Every time you call, I told this person this last night, every time you call, your name is on the phone. What feeling do you think you provide to the other people that's seeing you when you call them? Whether you know it or not, whoever you call and whoever calls, you produce a feeling when you see their name on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
I said, you know what feeling you provide when you call?
What?
This person said what? I said anxiety.
Oh, man.
Every single time. I said, you do that to everybody. You don't even know it. You don't even know it. Every time your name is on the phone is anxiety. I know 50% of bad news is going to be delivered. Why? Faith is not in that person's life. They're not going in thinking that the future looks bright because what is the backbone of future looks bright? Like we talk about future looks bright. Oh, future looks bright. They're just selling hats and shirts and all this stuff. Do you really want to know why do you think the whole FLB brand can sell a hat that says faith over fear? Why? Because future looks bright because we have faith over fear. The whole concept is faith. If you don't have faith, how do you know the future looks bright? You tell me where the concept of future looks bright comes from if you don't have faith. How do you know? You don't know. Well, why are you so optimistic? Because I just got faith. What do you want me to tell you? I just feel everything's going to work out. So I do believe that as you look at that chart, and Jonathan Haidt, if you haven't yet read his book, Anxious Generation, I've been recommended this book for 2 years. Parents, do yourself a favor and go look at it. I want to play you another clip here. This other clip I want to play you is a story of, let me find this clip, Rob. Did I text it to you or not? I may or may not texted it to you. If I didn't, let me send it over your way. Here's a man who he is being interviewed to talk about what technology has done to our kids and what the role of technology has been historically every single time we introduce new technology to kids. Rob, I want you to play the one from X because it's a lot cleaner without the start. So here's Dr. Jared Cooney Horvath, okay? Let's forget about his middle name, but Dr. Jared Horvath is giving this message, and I want to. Can you go all the way to the top, Rob, for me to read some of the quote? Okay, he breaks down, deliver the brutal truth parents and educators need to face. His core warning: Gen Z is the first modern generation to be. Well, I'll let him say it. Rob, play the clip. It is so powerful. How long is it, man? We can't watch the whole thing, but we'll watch the first 2 minutes. Go ahead, Rob.
My name is Dr. Jared Cooney Horvath. I'm a former teacher turned cognitive neuroscientist who focuses on human learning. And I do not receive funding, nor have I ever, from big tech. So a sad fact our generation has to face is this. Our kids are less cognitively capable than we were at their age. Since we've been standardizing and measuring cognitive development since the late 1800s, every generation has outperformed their parents. And that's exactly what we want. We want sharper kids. And the reason for this largely has been school. Each generation spends more time in school. We use school to develop our cognition. Congratulations, you see your correlation. Until Gen Z. Gen Z is the first generation in modern history to underperform us on basically every cognitive measure we have, from basic attention to memory to literacy to numeracy to executive functioning to even general IQ, even though they go to more school than we did. So why? What happened around 2010 that decoupled schooling from cognitive development? It can't be school. Schools basically look the same. It can't be biology. This hasn't had enough time to change. The answer appears to be the tools we are using within schools to drive that learning. Across 80 countries, as Gene was just saying, if you look at the data, once countries adopt digital technology widely in schools, performance goes down significantly, to the point where kids who use computers about 5 hours per day in school for learning purposes will score over 2/3 of a standard deviation less than kids who rarely or never touch tech at school. And that's across 80 countries. Bring it home to the US. Let's go to the US. We have our NAEP. That's our big data. Take any state, here's a fun experiment you can try. Take any state NAEP data, compare that to when that state adopted one-to-one technology widely, and watch what happens. The NAEP data will plateau and then start to drop. Now, as Gene said, of course, this is all correlative. What we really want is causative. To get causation, what you need is academic research and you need mechanisms, explanations for why we're seeing what we're seeing. Luckily, we have academic research stretching back to 1962 that shows the exact same story for 60 years. When tech enters education, learning goes down. In fact, one of the biggest ed psychologists right now, Dylan William out of the UK, recently said, ed tech is a revolution that's been coming for 60 years, and we're gonna have to wait another 60 because it ain't doing anything. Now that's research, but now we need mechanisms. Luckily, over the last about 2 decades, we've been doing a lot of work in what we call the science of learning. How do human beings learn? And we now have the clear understanding of why tech does not work for learning, and it is all biological. It's not that the tech isn't being used well enough, we haven't been trained enough, we need better programs. It's we have evolved biologically to learn from other human beings, not from screens. And screens circumvent that process. I won't go too deeply into the mechanisms, they can get boring, but just know they're there if you want to talk about them. So that leaves us with 2 options. Option 1, when you know something is wrong, do better. So we could just say, hey, mea culpa, get some of this tech out of schools, go back to what we know works, some analog methods. Cool. Or 2, we could redefine our terms. We could redefine what it means to be an effective learner. I want to end with one quick story here. Think back to your childhood, to your schooling. I guarantee all of us at one point took a test on reading comprehension. And the way it looked is this. Here's a passage of about 750 words. Here are 10 to 12 questions about that passage. Most of them are inferential, not factual. They're asking you to go beyond what you just read to see what you understood. Cool. Last year, the SATs had a reading comprehension section. Here's what it looked like. Here is a single sentence of 75 words. Here is one question, fact-based, about that sentence. Next. Here is another sentence of 75 words. Here is one question about that sentence. Next. Last year, they redefined reading comprehension to mean 54 short sentences with one question about each. That is skimming. That's not reading. Why would we ever do that? Because what do kids do on computers? They skim. So rather than determining what do we want our children to do and gearing education towards that, we are redefining education to better suit the tool. That's not progress. That is surrender.
Exactly. What a powerful thing that this fellow is talking about. Tom, your thoughts on this?
So, married to a teacher, I'll tell you a very, very interesting story here. They've done tests with live human teachers. And what they did, they took a group of kids and they told the kids. And Dennis Waitley, The Psychology of Winning, he talked about this in I saw him give a talk. This goes way back. I think he passed away a couple of years ago.
No, he wrote one of the best motivational books of all time that athletes read, business owners read, business salespeople read. It's a phenomenal book.
Yep. And so what do you talk about? A teacher goes into a class an average public high school that's in a marginal area of town, not downtown, not uptown, just average. And what they did, it was like 5th grade. They said, by the way, all of the students in this class, according to the tests that we've been taking, are high-achieving students. Congratulate yourselves. You're all high-achieving students. And so what they did, they kept reinforcing that. And they reinforce it. And Kim can tell you about this. Guess what happens? The test scores there were better than the previous year's class of student. Why? Because what did they put in the kid's head? The assumption that we're going to do well, and it was human teaching, looking at them and directly complimenting them. Wow, Elon, that's really, really good. But this is why you're all in here, this class with us, where we're all going to do very well together, where we're all very good at this. And so what happens is it goes right into here we go, the subtle what of what?
Low expectations.
Correctamundo. That's exactly what it is. So human teaching and connecting with human and instilling, quality impressions and then teaching human to human works best. Now, can you read a book? Can the textbook be on, an ebook? Sure, it can. And if you're going to read and read and read, it can. But this is absolutely correct that digital leads to skimming, and skimming leads to lower comprehension. And now even the SAT has completely taken a left turn. If the SAT or the Stanford 9 will go back to taking the large blocks and then test inferential, there'd be a parental uprising in America. But against who? The teachers' unions in every town. And we can't have that.
Do you actually think it's better to take the technologies out, Tom?
I think if the technology is only used to so you don't have to print the book, I like that. I want human connection.
You know what happened yesterday? I'm having a conversation with one of the younger boys in our family. Okay, I'm gonna try to say this in a way that we can't figure out who it is. Love this kid. He's phenomenal. Very, very good kid. So a week ago, I bought him a book. Okay, and I gave him this book 9 days ago. And while he's with me, I ask him a question. I say, "By when will you finish this book?" Now he's not a reader. So he doesn't read books. And school grades is okay, but he's not like a straight A kid that, aces everything. That's not him. His strength is in a different place. He's got a high EQ, okay? Not on this side. So he's got a very, very high EQ. So anyways, I said, when will you finish this book? He says to me, by next Friday, meaning 2 days ago, 3 days ago. I said, I'm going to ask it to you one more time, because whatever you tell me, I'm going to hold you to it. When will you finish this book? He said, no, I'm telling you by next Friday. It's okay. No problem. I'm the wrong guy to make a commitment and stay and not do it.
Oh, yeah.
He says, no, I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. I said, great. Friday, he texts me. I said, where are you at? He said, I'm at page 50. I haven't finished the book. I said, yeah, listen, I'm not interested in this kind of stuff that you're doing with me. If you want me to work with you, and then I asked the parents, how much leeway are you giving me to challenge your kid? I specifically asked him, I said, I want to be aligned because I don't want you to come back and say you're pushing too hard. And they said, we're on the same page, we're aligned. Fantastic. I'm going to push them. And if you're okay with it, I'm going to go hard, no problem. Text me. I'm not responding back because you didn't respond back to my commitments. Great. Calls me yesterday, sends me a report, finished the book cover to cover. And late at night, 8:30, whatever time it is, he says, hey, when can we talk? All day he's texting me, when can we talk? When can we talk? I said, when I get a time, I'll call you. So I call him. And he starts to go ahead. What did you take away from the book? He starts telling me what he took away from the book. Tom, it was as if he saw a new world, because he's never read it's not a business book. He doesn't read books like this. And by the way, it's a phenomenal book that every parent who has a kid playing sports, you have to have your kids read this book. We probably sold 5,000 copies of books today, and we're not even, none of these books are ours. We're terrible at selling. But so he's like, and he said this. And then he was telling the story about this girl, and he said this. And then this one girl that was playing tennis, and he said this. You could see the shine. Versus, when the phone is, he's always like this. Because it's always on. It drives me insane. Our kids, my oldest son is 14 years old. He still has no social media. He's the only kid that has no social media. Zero. He has nothing. His phone, it's only because he goes running and mom's trying to get a hold of him. Dylan's like, Dad, when can I get a phone? All my friends. Senna's 9 years old. Her friends at 8 years old had cell phone and social media. The kids have nothing. It's so hard to keep it apart for this long. By the way, can we recommend the book, Rock? Can you pull up the book? It's called The Game of Tennis. I think it's a green book, Rob, if you can pull this up. It's got nothing to do with tennis.
Inner game of tennis.
It's the inner game of tennis of mentally developing the mindset that a ton of professional quarterbacks, athletes have read this book. Coaches have been recommended this book. It's an incredible book to read, The Inner Game of Tennis by Timothy Galway. Look at the number of reviews, by the way. 9,872 reviews written in 1997, and the foreword is Pete Carroll. You kind of see this. I think
the coach.
Yeah, Pete Carroll. So what are your thoughts about what he said in the video?
I think that human nature strives for efficiency. Sometimes that's extremely good. Sometimes it leads to, I think, what we're seeing now, which is in many ways, not to sound like weird, but like the death of the human spirit. Because what you were just talking about, reading a book where your mind has to work to create the imagery, your mind has to understand. We're going more and more and more efficient. I don't even think we're touching the start of what this will lead to, because with AI, the tools become exponentially more efficient. It's not like a regular linear curve. This will exponentially increase to the point where all information, every task, everything is done for humans. It's like the movie WALL-E back in the day. Yeah. Humans are not we're intended to struggle. So we're reaching a point where we're going to have to create our own struggle. I think it's Pandora's box. It's out of the box at this point. We're not going to go back to before this. The question is, how do we deal with it now that it's here? How do we get people to understand that this isn't necessarily a good thing? And I'm very, very worried about what this looks like in the future. I've been looking at AI for a very long time.
And I get to see it in real time, because when we're out or we're at a dinner and there's 4 kids, none of them are on a phone. They don't have a phone. When I tell you the conversations, at Tom, you're there all the time, Pat. Bro, we're sitting all around each other, and I have a 14-year-old that will not stop talking to me about God, about Jesus, about politics, about did you see this? Did you see that? As he's still talking, Dylan is talking to me about Uncle Vinny, sports. What about this? What about that? Santa's talking. It's bro, you're immersed in conversation. Nobody. And then me and Humberto, yesterday we're at Cheesecake Factory. Very, very big menu. I highly recommend you do research before you go. There's
especially if you're with Humberto.
Bro, the menu, no joke, is like this. Humberto, we were arguing over.
That's a reading a book in itself.
That's a book in itself. Yeah. Shout out to Cheesecake Factory author. But we're sitting there, and Humberto can vouch back. It's a parent, husband, wife, one more friend. The kids for 1 hour. Not even joking. We're like this, and the kid has big goggles because he's like this. He can't see, and not one peep from any of the kids until they left. And then as they're walking away, the kid couldn't even put it down, and the parent had to grab it. I'm telling you right now, it's an uncomfortable conversation, because I see it. The kids are like, well, these people have it. These people have it. They don't understand the great thing that you're giving them, because at some point it's inevitable, bro. They're going to be 16. They're going to be 18. They're going to have it. But this development stage, you have to have it, because, bro, you could go on a road trip with Tico. He shuts the music off. He goes, I want to just talk to you, Uncle Vinny. I'm like, we could put whatever you want.
Amazing.
He's like, no, I want to talk. We talk for an hour in the car. He just wants to have a conversation. I think that's what you have to do. It's that uncomfortable moment, because guess what? Everybody else has one. You're not going to have one. And I think that's a hard conversation to have.
Look, I think this is probably the most important conversation in America today. What our kids are learning and reading and using tech, and when they should be able to use tech. So Tico's 14, hasn't had a cell phone yet. My nephew's 13, has no cell phone. He wanted to get one for his bar mitzvah. We said, nah, buddy, wait until you're 16. That's a whole conversation. Why? That story you just told about whoever that was, how old they doesn't read books, but he didn't have the highest IQ, had a high EQ. That was me. I remember in high school, look, I did not want to read books. I would get good grades just because I knew stuff I would study. But if you give me a 200-page book, I'd be like, can we get some Cliff Notes over here? Remember when Cliff Notes were a thing?
Yeah.
Think about this now. Cliff Notes, you have to go buy it. It was still 50 pages. You can do a chat GPT. Give me the book summary of any book you want.
Mm-hmm.
Bingo. So, someone said to me the other day, goes, if you put the work in, it'll work out. I said, oh, I like that. The problem is you don't have to put any work in. Life is so easy. You can get whatever you want, snap of a finger, press of a button. And then what happens? They get anxious. They get depressed, because we're making up problems in America today. Yeah. What's the book? The Anxious Generation.
Anxious Generation. Yeah. Amazing.
Jonathan Haidt. They're making up things to get depressed about and anxious about because of this.
Yeah.
This is the greatest tool or greatest weapon, depending on how you look at it.
Parents, it's on you though, parents.
Yeah.
It's totally on you. It's not easy. I get it. People will connect, and trust me, as a parent, I screw up all the flipping time parenting. You make mistakes all the flipping time. You ain't gonna do it right. Like, all of us are like, you ever go on the out to dinner and a husband and wife are there, and it's like, oh my God, we just celebrated our anniversary. And then, so what did your husband do? And the wife starts explaining what the husband did. And you're like, can you already just shut up? Because everything was so perfect. And your wife is sitting there and it's like, why can't you do something
why
like
can't
that
you
for
be
me?
like
You know,
that?
it's like all this stuff. I'm like,
Oh my God.
And then you're like, okay, all right. I want to go to dinner with husband. It's like, honestly, I forgot the anniversary. Yeah. That's my kind of husband, right? I like this guy. You made all of us, it's a
Makes you look good.
I love this guy.
He's going places.
Protect that man.
Right? But the point is this, is you're going to fail. You're going to screw up. You're going to make mistakes as a parent. All of us are. None of us are walking on water as parenting. You're going to screw this thing up. But, man, there's a handful of places do not screw up with because we're about to lose Tom right now. There's a handful of places do not screw up
Giggity.
with. Don't become the parent that says, but let him just play for a little bit. It's easy. Let him just have a little bit. Saturday, Sunday, fine. Monday through Friday, lock it up.
Yep.
And then for Saturday and Sunday, give a certain time that they can do. If they don't, like, our girls have to do leg raises, okay? And it's Brooklyn will literally have to do 50 leg raises. Steps on the table, comes down, right and left. And then Senna has to do 50. She lies, and then Dylan has to do his training. But create something for them to get it. It's not easy. I understand. Tom, I think you wanted to say something before we go to the next story.
Yeah, I just give a how-to. We all often talk about things we don't give a how-to. We'll give you a how-to here. Number one, no social media. Number two, when the kid comes home, put the phone and a charger in the kitchen. The phone is there for communication and safety because I know many parents want their kids to have that phone at school. But the other thing is, get them a regular Kindle. The Kindle that just we have the books on it. Now you can put all the books on the Kindle, they can highlight it, and you're reading. And you're not distracted by any notifications or anything. I'll put the Kindle app on the phone. No, it's $100. You can get a Kindle for $109 or something right now. Those little thin Kindles are about the size of a book because you want the kids to read a book. That way they're immersed without distraction. So those are the only two how-tos I'll get is, and I'm not trying to be proponent for Kindle, but it's a last man standing after Nook and Sony Reader and all those things.
Tom, just put his link
And they
for
use
his
the paper.
put his Kindle
affiliate link.
No, because I'll
read gooder than you.
Tom just made $100,000. But they have that paperless thing on it, which is really good also. It's not using blue light. It's excellent.
Yeah.
Correct. And Bailey, I'll give you a fast story. She reads this book, All Quiet on the Western Front, and she's reading it, classic book. She's reading it in paper format. And every now and then I see little pencil notes in there. And I'm like, she wasn't asked to highlight anything, but she made little pencil notes. And on the very last page, because you know what happens at the end. Paul dies.
Yeah, of course.
Spoiler
alert. Spoiler alert.
All of his, this is 1918, World War I. All of his friends die in the book. He looks like he's going to make it. And on the last page, last book, it says, today's report, all quiet on the Western Front, but Paul has been shot. And he dies. Underneath, in capital letters, no, because it's almost the end of the book, and you're thinking there it's going to go there. And we had a great conversation about the book. And there's the second point. Talk to your kids about the books, just like Pat did.
Yeah.
I can't believe you ruined that book.
Well,
Next thing you're going to do, you're going to tell me that Blue died in old school.
You realize as he was telling that story,
My boy Blue.
somebody that's listening to this right now bought the book, and then they're like, damn, you.
They bought it right as he brought it up.
Let me go to the next story.
It was a movie.
It's like the thing with Obama or Trump one. No!
Hey, quick shout out to Alan Yesamete, who just bought 10 PBD Podcast gift memberships. I don't know if I've done the last shout out for 3 years, but I'm just giving a shout out to that guy. Wherever you are, whoever you are, you're the man. All right, let me get to this next part. So, story comes out of Idaho, okay? Idaho governor signs into law child sex abuse death penalty bill despite U.S. Supreme Court ruling.
Nice.
So, widely supported in the Idaho legislature, the bill is likely to face constitutional challenges. Lawmakers acknowledge, but they are hopeful law will prevail. Now, look at the date there. If you look at the date, what's the date?
March 27th.
So let me read this to you on what this is really all about and what it means and how different this is than everywhere else. Okay. So this is called the House Bill 380, Governor Brad Little, okay, in regards to death penalty for a new offense called aggravated lewd conduct with a child aged 12 years or younger. This covers certain severe sexual abuse cases against very young children under 12, but only if the case meets at least 3 of the 17 specific aggravated factors, okay? Multiple incidents, use of force, causing injury, transmitting a disease, et cetera, et cetera. If that happens, Idaho made, you ready for this? Firing squad.
Oh, my God.
The state's primary method of execution, effective around mid-2026, replacing the lethal injection as the default due to drug shortages. firing squad. Okay, Vinny, firing squad. The lawmaking firing squad primary method takes into effect July 1st of 2026. Before that date, the state cannot use it as a default, and executions overall have been paused while the prison builds and prepares a new firing squad facility. They're building a firing squad facility, okay, for folks like the construction and training are still underway. What kind of training are you going to need for this?
Well,
what is the training?
aim or the front sight is.
Idaho has not carried out any execution by any method since June of 2012. The last attempt was in 2024 on Thomas Creech, failed due to inability to establish lines for lethal injection. There are currently about 8 or 9 people on Idaho's death row, all sentenced under the new old rules, primarily for aggravated first-degree murder. No new death sentences in the 2025 child sex abuse HB Law 380 have resulted in an execution yet, and none could because it's going through it. But can you imagine if all of a sudden, once this passes, July, somebody does something in Idaho, public execution? Rob, when is the last time America even had a public execution? Was it 70s, early 80s?
No, I don't think it's been public. I think executions,
have we
I think executions have been closed.
So these guys are talking about public execution. So, Tom, I'm going to come to you first. What are your thoughts on this? Because we've been reading, by the way, I saw a story. I don't even want to read the story to you. It's so disturbing. Honestly, parents, if you're watching this, I'm just going to tell you, do me a favor and don't take a pause on this side to not show it. Did you see about the girl on Snapchat, what she was willing to do with her daughter? Did you see what happened to this lady? Rob, do you have that clip?
I do.
Okay, parents, piss me off. I'm telling you right now to parents, don't have your kids watch this next section. Let me just read this, Rob.
Okay.
Oh, it's a clip that you have. Play the clip, Rob. Play the clip. Okay, and then I'll read the news. Watch this. You don't have audio? Okay, they're just showing the clip of who she is. Okay, so here's a lady.
They have the message.
Now let me read it. Let me read the message, Rob. Okay. Indiana mom of 7 accused of, Rob, I can't see the top, offering her 7-month-old daughter for sex to a man on Snapchat in exchange for $400.
Unbelievable.
32-year-old Morgan Stapp denied sending the message, but police said it was sent from her phone at her home. Stapp reported sent 3 photos of her infant daughter with the message, you can, for $400, half now, rest later, I'll send my address. I do live alone, and her dad is not in the picture. Snapchat flagged the message, sent it to the authorities. 10 days later, FBI agents arrived at her home. She was booked into Marion County Jail on July 8th, held for a $100,000 bail. What should happen to this person? You're still not believing this, Rob. Can you, while we're doing this, because I went and looked at Grok to see other people saying, is this a true story? And at the bottom, you find it. You see, look at this. This is People Magazine. Mom of 7 arrested. What should happen to somebody like this?
I mean, Pat, the fact that, first of all, I want everybody to...
Facing 10 to 30 years in prison if convicted of the level 2 felony.
I want people to understand, 7-month-old. And this is the part that should really, really bother everybody. Do you think this was the first time she did it? Do you think this was her first time that she's had somebody come?
I really pray to God.
Well, what I'm saying is
I know you're saying it's most
that's
likely
God. This is when you catch the people, and you know how I feel with anything that has to do with children. You know, Matthew. I always bring up Matthew chapter 18, verse 6. It's one of the worst things that God says if you cause any of these young ones to stumble. Besides. Go take a millstone around your neck and throw it into the deepest part of the ocean. This is horrible.
Hartman also found 7,000 messages had been sent between October 29th and November 1st. 7,000 in 3 days. Said the affidavit, including 81 that said, would you be interested in buying my nude so I can get baby diapers? Okay. So now, go back to the public execution, Tom, in Idaho and what they're going with this. How do you, just look at Tom's face right now, how annoyed he is with the story. Go ahead, Tom. What's on your mind?
Well, let's break this thing into 2 parts. I have no problem with due process and legal precedent being put forth to put on the books the law that says that these types of crimes would be subject to capital punishment. Guess what? The states have states' rights. And so Idaho says, okay, we find this crime to be so horrible that we're going to put it in this category, and it's going to be public execution. You know what? I'm in favor of it because I believe there needs to be, for certain things, there needs to be a deterrent above deterrence. Mm-hmm. There has to be something that is so deterrent that it is so above that causes people to think twice. We've talked about what happens in the Middle East with when you commit a crime, they cut off a finger or even a hand. If the theft is heavy enough, you take off a hand. So now your brother walks around town with one hand and says, "Yeah, was that free Snickers worth it?" No, right? We're not joking here. That's the way they do it. But guess what happened to petty theft and things?
No,
in the Middle
crime
East?
is so
It goes down.
Yep.
Because the deterrence is there. I'm fine with going through the process, let the voters put it on there, test it, and put it on as law, and I'm fine about it. Now, public execution, I think that's a little morbid. But because normally the executions have been, careful, very carefully managed things. Prisoner comes in, he's put on the bed, the doctors come there, they inspect. There's a lot of things we do to do things quickly and humanely. I don't know how a grandstand, for public inspection, I think there's a little morbidity to that, and I think sometimes the wrong people would be there. But would I want the execution to be available for public review in a certain way? Yes, I would. I have no issue with it. Now, this woman, she's doing all this for money. Is she destitute? Is she an addict? What is going on here? Because we have to save the kids from her.
Yeah.
And now we have to find a way to get the child either put up for adoption, put in foster care in a safe, loving, encouraging and learning environment. Because this woman is defective. And by the way, what's lost in here we didn't talk about, thank you to whatever was going on at Snapchat that they actually had a filter in place, because a lot of criticisms on social media is like, oh, it's not our responsibility, not our thing. Something happened there at Snapchat, so that's a footnote. That's just a footnote. It's like,
by the way, the last time we had a public execution in U.S. was August 14th, 1936.
Oh, wow.
In Owensboro, Kentucky. It was a public hanging attended by thousands of spectators. After that event, states rapidly moved executions behind prison walls due to backlash and concerns about spectacle and disorder.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I'm on that page.
You know what I will say about what you were talking about at deterrent? I think you do. This is a difficult one, because I'm one of those people when it comes to things like this. I'm like, anything. I'm okay if the family gets to do whatever they want to the person and like keep them. Like I have really. You talk about morbid. I'm not like I'm okay with virtually anything. Like my brain just says, listen, if that was my kid and someone did something to my kid, or that was someone I love deeply, and there's no limit.
I'm in favor of victim witnesses.
Yes. So,
yes,
but I think
10,000 people in
I'll
a
tell you
spectacle,
why.
no.
I'll tell you why, because shame and the deterrent you're talking about, it needs to almost be seen by everyone. It needs to be like, this could be you if you're one of these people who's thinking about doing this. And if they see it, it's a lot different than being told, we'll do this to you. There's the visual imagery of it happening in the because there's a certain degree of like, I would imagine shame from just being publicly there and being executed. Someone watching this would be like, I don't want to have that happen to me. I don't know. I can't say I'm against it.
Adam.
This is a tough one, because emotionally, if something happened to you or anyone you know, I'm right there with you, bro. But I think what Tom's talking about, the eye for eye, was called Hammurabi's Code. I think that actually took place in your neck of the woods in Babylon or Babylonia or Assyria. But there's a reason that we have the U.S. justice system, the legal system, and law and order. And there must be a reason that we haven't had public executions since what year? 1930 something?
1936.
Okay, so it's almost 100 years since we do that. So the emotional side of me is like, string them up, like in the Old West. But the legal framework, America, the foundation, it's probably like, maybe we pump the brakes on this a little bit. Now, in America, I want to say, you can fact check this, there's no death penalty. You talk about public execution, no death penalty for non-death crimes, for non-homicide crimes. So you do these sexual things, horrible, disgusting, there's no death penalty for that according to the U.S. law. You can fact check that. However, if you're not going to do that publicly, let's cut something off publicly. I'm not going to kill him publicly. But
I'm okay with that. That's a good alternative.
Let's sit him out there in public. Oh, you want to rape little kids? Okay. We can't kill you, but we're going to bring you out in public.
Cut his neck.
And we're going to chop it off.
That I'm all right with.
We're going to guillotine that thing.
Well,
let's find a middle ground here.
But so let me show you this one here. David P. Phillips examined 22 highly publicized executions in London, 1858 to 1921, and reported that homicides dropped roughly 35% in the 2 weeks after each execution.
There you go.
And another study titled Execution Publicity and Homicide in South Carolina similarly reported that months with publicized executions had a 17.5% fewer homicides than months without publicized executions. So it is a huge deterrent. And there was a book written by someone that explained one city went extreme, the other city didn't, and the other city that did. This is a very, very heavy debated topic that goes back and forth, that some people think grace is necessary, that second chances, third chances. But to me, when you get to this point, something like this, different
What
story.
did they do in Idaho? They said was it a 3-strike rule? Was
No,
it
it had to be
time?
3 out of the 17. It had to be
What did
3
that
out of
mean
the
exactly?
17. If it's like you transferred sexually transmitted disease. I think the other one was multiple incidents, use of force, causing injury. There's multiple factors. If you have at least 3 of the 17, then they're saying that could lead to a public execution if the child is 12 years or younger.
I like that. But by the way, is this 3 strikes you're out or 3 of 17 the first time?
No, it could be 3 of 17.
Okay.
Again, multiple incidents to them considers as one of the 17 factors.
It's like the
Kinda
test
how
for
they look
capital
at it.
punishment.
Yeah.
Was it premeditated? Was it a revenge? Was it lay in wait? You know, all those things that they do that says if you check the boxes, then it becomes a capital punishment case. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, let me
It's so rare for these offenses to be a one-time thing anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, and by the way, let me get to this one. By the way, I feel like we're on a bunch of stories like this. I'm going to get off this. Let me just do this last one here, and then we'll move on. Louisiana gunman killed 8 children, including 7 of his own. Police say in deadliest mass shooting since 2024. Rob, I think you got a clip on this one here. Go for it. Go ahead.
Confirm the suspect in these 8 homicides is Shamar Elkins. He is believed to be the man responsible for this heinous act. I can tell you that 7 of the 8 children that were killed are believed to be his children. We are still working to determine a complete motive and understanding as to why this happened, but it is domestic in nature. The mother of the children was also shot and had very serious injuries, although we are hopeful she will recover. There's another female that was in this residence that has life-threatening injuries. We are hopeful that she will pull through.
Yeah, so ages 3 to 11. Ages 3 to 11, and a 13-year-old boy was injured after fleeing from a home and jumping from the roof. Borderland told KSLA he sustained a few broken bones but is expected to recover. So, Vinny, your thoughts on this story?
I mean, when I saw it yesterday, I literally was in disbelief because I'm like, there's no way that this. Because
Is that the picture? Is that the picture?
That's
of the
him with his family, and it's like, listen, you have a problem with her and the. Okay, I understand it, but deal with her. If that's the problem, deal with her. I'm not saying kill her or don't. I don't want people to take that out of context, but you shoot and kill 7 of your own kids, and they're your blood. By the way, that's not anger. That is complete evil. Those kids didn't do anything. And yeah, the one kid is trying to go on the roof, and apparently he was like a cousin or a nephew or something, and he shot him. Like, they didn't cause your relationship problems, okay? They didn't ask you to do this entire mess and argue. Instead of protecting them, you wipe them out. And that's what happens when you have zero control, zero discipline, and zero fear of God. In regard to the execution and stuff like that, I believe, I might be wrong, Tom, you can fact check me, Romans chapter 13, like one of the first verse, Romans 13, chapter 4. I think it says something about, the capital punishment and letting the authorities deal with stuff that's horrific crime. Because a lot of, what is it? Rulers, whether they acknowledge if not, serve with thine purpose, keep and does not bear the sword in vain. Okay, so it's basically saying government authorities are God's servants designed for individuals, good, punishing wrongdoers. I know a lot of people go, well, you're a Christian, you guys are supposed to, but you have to, there has to be punishment, or else, bro, people are going to keep doing it. If that law in Idaho came out, how many of these disgusting, pedophile, perverted, murderous, I mean, this guy obviously had an agenda. Once he was done, it was going to be over. But you have to pump fear into these people, or else they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing it, bro. In this case, I mean, what happens? So, and I tell people this all the time. And they always do this, Elon. They go, he's out of his mind. No. That's when Satan, when the devil gets in you, bro. It happens like that, and it's over.
Let me, you hear this because in the past there was a story like this that happened, and it was a story of Ronald Gene Simmons, not the Gene Simmons from Kiss, but Ronald Gene Simmons was an American spree killer who committed the deadliest family-side, is what they call it, in U.S. history. In December of 1987, over the course of 1 week in rural Arkansas, he murdered 14 members of his own family, including 7 of his own kids, his wife, grandchildren, and in-laws, plus 2 former co-workers, total 16 killed. And the aftermath was he was convicted in 2 separate trials, waived all appeals, and was executed by lethal injection 3 years later in 1990, just 16 months after his second conviction, one of the quickest executions in modern U.S. history. And we haven't had one since 1987. Okay, so think about when you get stories like this, when this takes place. Now, let me give the other side of the story. Yeah, that's Ronald Gene Simmons. He looks like somebody that would kill his own family if you look at that, right? But On the flip side of it, let me tell you how many heroes are out there as well that we don't recognize enough. And Vinny, I'm going to come to you with this one.
Yes, sir.
So last week, it could have been last week or a week ago.
It was last week.
It was last week. So Vinny, matter of fact, I'll just let you tell the story of a great story of Kirk Moore and what happened to him when he showed up to what do you call it? What did he show up to?
He was in
prom. He showed up to prom.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, but show the first clip first, Rob.
Okay, so
go to the first one
so
first.
Can I set it up
go
really
ahead.
fast, Pat? So and I love that you said that. With all we always hear bad news, fighting, killing. You know, the mother that's doing what she's doing. This is a principal, Kirk Moore, from Pauls Valley High School. He stopped a mass shooting. So a 20-year-old former student named Victor Hawkins, he walks in and he's saying he wanted to shoot up the school like Columbine shooters did. This guy, Kirk Moore, ran straight out. Bro, he comes out of nowhere. If you guys look towards the back, he comes out of nowhere, tackles the guy, gets shot in the leg, and saves this guy from he had 2 clips to go and shooting everybody. He didn't do what we saw in Uvalde where those security or cops, they all ran, they all hid, they didn't stand the ground. This guy acted. Okay, and I don't know how this was in the top story, but Rob, go ahead and play the clip. So this is the shooter coming in. Brother, there's a kid right there on the right, our left. The gun jams.
Wow.
And then look, principal, boom.
Oh, wow.
Bam. And then right now he gets shot. He gets shot in the leg. How crazy is that, bro? The other kid's out, stops him. This other
That
guy
guy
comes
takes
out.
the gun.
Yep.
Takes the magazine out.
How crazy is that? Look at that, dude. The gun's out. The other teacher grabs the gun.
Call the cops.
Yep, and that's it. It's insane. That
And by the way, show what happened when he showed up to prom. This is what happened when he showed up to prom.
He showed up to prom, and guess what? They crown him the prom king at the freaking high. Yeah, go play, Rob.
Kirk Moore.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look at him. Good for him, bro.
Great story.
He deserves everything.
Yeah, look at this freaking stud, bro. Dude, look how happy they are.
Superhero.
Saved a bunch of them. They don't even like they know it. This guy's a gangster, bro.
Isn't that great?
I love that.
Isn't that great? You getting emotional just watching it like that. This is
100%.
in you. Go ahead, Elon.
No, it's just such a polar opposite of this is what masculinity should be.
Yes. Yep.
This is a protector. And by the way, you watch that video as someone who has worked with people in like stress responses, training people, all this stuff. You never know how you will react in a high stress situation. To see someone take action, it's easy to watch it and say, I would do the same thing. 9 out of 10 people don't.
Yep.
They freeze, they run. Those are the 2 most common reactions. So for him to go do that, put his life on the line, the guy's a hero. I think people like this should be nationally celebrated. I think.
By the way, if anybody's watching this, if you're from that area or if you know the family or if you know anything about Kirk Moore, what he's like, what he's interested in, what his passions are, can you connect me? Let's find a way collectively, you and I, to do something special for him and his family.
Oh, that's awesome,
Hey, can you
Pat.
do that? Let's do something very, very, very special for him and turn him into a hero. Where's he based out of?
I love this.
Oklahoma, Kirk Moore High School Valley,
Oklahoma City?
Oklahoma.
Beautiful. If you know anything, connect me. I want to do something special for this man.
That's awesome.
We need to recognize heroes like this. Tom.
This is exactly, we're celebrating this and we're celebrating him, and we should, but it's just sad and it worries me. I mean, Kim is a teacher at a really good school, but I worry about stuff like this. It only takes one person to to flip the bit. Yeah. And but I celebrate this guy. I thank you for all the training and everything that law enforcement does with schools now. We have so many ways to protect our schools and more techniques and more devices that are on doors and procedures. But really what it gets back to, man, we need big brothers and big sisters, and we need Sunday school that brings faith to these people so that we can catch it early, so that they can be valuable members of society. All the protections and everything that I'm praising protects, but go upstream. We got to go all the way upstream, as I'm very fond of saying when I talk about don't build a $1 trillion filter in the pond. Go upstream and find out what's getting into the pond and stop that. And let me tell you, folks, it's faith. And it's being willing to reach out in your community and to be a big brother or a big sister or to help a single mom. And that we need that spirit of community back in the U.S. to reach out and help, because you're gonna prevent this and not even know it.
Yeah, you'll never know the person you stopped from doing the terrible.
And Tommy, and you make it. I love that you took it there. We spend besides all the fraud, we spend billions of dollars protecting other countries, yet our schools and our children aren't safe. Seems like every month there's a mass shooting. And the fact that heroism is the last line of defense tells you that there's something wrong with the people in charge and their priorities are not straight, bro. These are the most vulnerable. We just heard how many stories about these children, and they're the most not looked after, like neglected. It's like, bro, if we could spend billions everywhere, put a freaking cop, put a metal detector in the front. That kid just strolled in, Pat. If that gun was active, okay, and he walked into a classroom, it's a whole different story that we're hearing. Kirk Moore, God bless his soul, it's a whole different situation because he's shooting, clip, and then it's you.
There's something weird going on in society. I saw a video. I opened Instagram, and this is what I'm exposed to. I see a kid playing in a schoolyard. He gets in a fight with some other kids. It's like a basketball court. And the kids start punching him in the face. He's 15 years old. And then one hits him in the face as he's trying to go away. The other one pulls out a firearm, shoots him in the chest, kills him. And this is on Instagram, and I'm exposed to something I'm a 44-year-old man exposed to. There's young kids seeing this. The amount of nihilism and dehumanization that's taking place online is very scary. And you talk about going upstream. I think it all leads to nihilism. It leads to... Sorry, go ahead.
Great point. And you remember the whole conversation that we had, if it bleeds, it leads? That was on the general news. But there was a corridor where the producer said, listen, we can't go that far. Now with the dissemination of social media, anything can be put out there. And there's no selectivity to what you see out there. Look, and I'll continue to harp on this. The only way America could lose in the global stage is if we're divisive and if we're dividing each other and we have internal decay. So the whole, if it bleeds, it leads. There's two stories that we just covered. One, this heroic teacher that's saving lives. The other one, I learned a new word, family side.
Yeah.
Not a homicide, not a suicide. You're taking out your own family, bro? Jeez. So I know we're talking about...
We shouldn't know that
We shouldn't know that word.
That word should not exist.
That should not exist. We talk about have more kids, have more kids, have more kids. This guy had a lot of kids. So what happens when you're bringing all these kids in this world and then you can take them out? Like my mom used to say, I brought you in this world. I'll take you out of it. I never took that literally.
Yeah.
But it's so sad.
She was pretty serious.
I know. I know,
that.
PBD. I love you, Mom. I know. But it just shows there's so many good stories we could focus on. Let's stop focusing on the bad and what bleeds.
You got. That's the thing about this world, though. You got to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. But we want to make sure, again, if you know Kirk Moore and stuff about him, reach out to me. I want to do something very, very, very special for this man. I want to do something very special for this man and recognize him. That involves the students, that involves the school, that involves the kids there. I want to do something really special for him. All right, let's go to the next story here. This story went viral all over X. Here's a story from Al Jazeera. Outrage after photo shows Israeli soldiers smashing Jesus statue in Lebanon. If you pull this up, a viral photo of Jesus in Lebanon with a sledgehammer has sparked outrage. In a statement on Monday, the IDF confirmed the authenticity of the image. So it's not like they're like, no, this is not real. They came out, their Twitter account came out and said this was real. And image that was widely shared online, 5 million views on one of the accounts. It said that the following: an initial review was determined that the photograph showed an Israeli soldier operating in southern Lebanon, where Israeli last month launched a ground invasion in conjunction with aerial bombardment amid its joint war with the U.S. The military added an investigation had been opened that appropriate measures will be taken against those involved in accordance with the findings. Commenting on social media, Ayman Odeh, a Palestinian member of the Israeli parliament, wrote pointedly, "We'll wait to hear the police spokesman claim that the soldier felt threatened by Jesus." Ahmed Taibbi, another Palestinian member of the Knesset, commented as well, "Perhaps these racists have also learned that Donald Trump," so Joseph Bota, he asked, referred to U.S. presidents, controversy, including the... So this is the clip that we're talking about right here. That's the soldier to the right. And IDF, can you go to the IDF tweet, Rob? I think you just had it a minute ago. If you don't...
that's not it, Rob.
That's not it. Yeah, there was one out there that's confirming that this took place.
And Benjamin Netanyahu said something today, too.
Yeah, he said it's tragic.
Yeah.
Go a little bit lower, 4 hours. You're going to have to go a lot more because they're tweeting a lot. Go a little bit lower, faster up. Okay, they're right there. Okay, so IDF, following the completion of an initial examination of the IDF soldier Christian symbol, it was determined that the photograph depicts an IDF soldier operating in southern Lebanon. The IDF used the incident the great severity and emphasized that the soldier's conduct is wholly inconsistent with the values expected of its troop. The incident is being investigated by Northern Command and is currently being addressed through the chain of command. Appropriate measures will be taken against those involved in accordance with the findings. Furthermore, the IDF is working to assist the community in restoring the statue in its place. The IDF is operating to dismantle terrorist infrastructure established by Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, has no intention of harming civilian infrastructure, including religious buildings or religious symbols. Vinny.
I mean, horrible look. And by the way, this happened in the village called Debel near the Israeli border in the Bin Jabil district, which is one of the oldest, just FYI, I know where it's located in Lebanon, but the oldest Christian populations on earth. It belonged to a Catholic church, and the actual people of that neighborhood posted the photo of the statue when it was standing still, and they quoted scripture from Gospel of Luke 23:34, and they said in Arabic, it says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Now, I want to say this. Obviously, this doesn't reflect, 'cause I know what people are going to do. Oh, all the soldiers. This doesn't reflect all the soldiers. It doesn't respect all of Israel and how they feel. But this isn't an isolated incident. In 2024, the IDF destroyed the church of Dergaya that killed 8 people. There was another incident in 2024. Well, yeah, that's the church. And then, Rob, can you show me the bulldoze one? I think that's the church. Killed 8 people. Okay, in 2024, the IDF in a town near Yarun, where a St. George statue was reportedly bulldozed during operations in that same region. I think I sent it to you, Rob. Oh, but by the way, and just FYI, Pat, just for people to know, can you show that video on the top? Yeah, that's the bulldoze. That's them bulldozing St. George, which, by the way, if you guys know St. George, he stands for faith and love and all that stuff. And then just go back, Rob, just really, really quick, show that. Guys, this isn't Gaza. This is southern Lebanon. And I understand the argument, there's Hezbollah there. But this is complete annihilation. And let's just get to the point, okay? Israel is in Lebanon for what? For what? Destroying who? Hezbollah, okay? That's the mission. That's the threat. You've already seized almost 20% of the land for the buffer zone. What are you smashing a statue of Jesus, okay? Has nothing to do with the mission. I know the soldier, again, does not represent all of Israel, but that's discussing. I'm curious why the hatred towards Christians, okay? I'm just curious. With Islam, I could see that there's a clear reason. It's Islam, okay? I get it, they hate it. But with Christians, where's the justification? What were you going to say?
I just think that like the history of Lebanon is very important to discuss it. What used to be a majority Christian nation.
A lot of them were.
Yeah, well, Lebanon used to be the Paris of the Middle East. It was a beautiful place. And when the PLO came in after Black September, it destabilized it, caused a civil war. Many of the Christians left. And then you have the rise of Hezbollah, which is essentially an Iranian proxy. And this is the sad reality of you're taking 18 to 21-year-old guys, you're putting them in a war zone, and you see stupid behavior like this, and worse, sadly, in any army, any war zone. What I care about is accountability. Israel has to take swift, strict action against this. They already have a bad image problem, and there's already a lot of people trying to push division between Christians and Jews. And I think it's an unnecessary division. When I look at southern Lebanon, you're talking about Hezbollah, why are they doing this? There's been Christian leaders in southern Lebanon who've come out and said Hezbollah is embedding itself in our villages, in our homes. And that's more, this is a terrible, terrible look and disgusting and bothers me. And like I said, one thing I will say is everywhere online that I saw Israelis and Jews, they were speaking out against it and saying, I condemn this act, I condemn this act. That's what I care about, the accountability. But again, I would also like to see accountability for the suffering of the Christians in southern Lebanon because of Hezbollah, because of the actions that have taken over the years. I want to see a resolution to this. The longer wars go on, the longer the civilians will suffer, the longer we'll see people do stupid things like this that are just absolutely disgusting and indefensible. And so I don't think there's an intentional targeting of Christians. I think that there's an idiotic group of young 18 to 21-year-old guys who are in the IDF. You have a population there that's under extreme stress, and and some of them do hate Christians, obviously. If you do something like this, you're just an idiot. But I don't think it's reflected by the majority.
Adam.
I don't think many Jews would agree with anything this guy just did. I don't think any normal person would agree with this guy just did. I think you should condemn this, and I think taking down any religious symbol and making a mockery of it, I'm not a fan of. So with that being said, we just talked about good news and bad news. I can give you countless stories of Christians who are saved, Druze who are saved by the IDF. I'll give you one story. I'll give a shout out to my friend Rudy Rockman, who served in the IDF. He would be in Gaza. He would find Qurans that were, victims of what's going on there. He would take the Quran and bring a pile and save them because he respected religious artifacts. That's the same person in the same conflict doing different things.
Yeah.
So if we're going to label anybody anything, let's label this one person an idiot. But while we're processing labeling, the selective outrage and the selective hypocrisy, stop it. Okay, so you've seen a video of like a religious Orthodox guy spitting on someone, or someone, what this guy did, smashing a symbol of Jesus. Okay, the Christian people are the most persecuted people on earth. They're killed, they're kidnapped, their churches are bombed. By who? Say the name. Islamic terrorists. Let's focus on that. What happens when you convert from Islam to Christianity? in any Islamic country, death sentence. I've been to Israel. I've seen Christians in Israel, in Jerusalem, preaching about Jesus. I said, hey, nice to meet you.
Protected.
Protected.
Fully protected. Yep.
You can go through countries in the Middle East, Yemen, Iran, Sudan, Pakistan, Nigeria, the Nigerian Christians. So let's chill with the selective outrage. How dare you smash a photo? Horrible.
But you have to realize
people
no, but there
killing
is a
people.
double standard. Look, there is an
standard?
openly double, but you have to accept that there's a double standard.
But what's a double standard?
Well, that obviously when an IDF soldier or Jew does something, you like I've seen a million people online look at Epstein and say all Jews are like this. You see that with any time a Jew does something, it's held to the standard of all Jews, even though there's 15 million in the world. The Orthodox Jews spitting on the Christians. I cannot tell you how many times I explained to people those were a sect of 200 religious Jews in Israel. They were arrested by the Israeli authorities, and this is an isolated incident. But it doesn't matter. You have to accept that you are held to a higher standard and do something about it. Live to the higher standard. Don't use that as an excuse to say, well, this happened. So I'm in agreement with you. There is a double standard, but it's such a bad look, and the world will take advantage, the worst players, of this type of...
Can I say one thing, though? I completely disagree with selective outrage. It's something that we were seeing. People were denying it. We're seeing it. It's not an isolated incident because I can go back and show you. And those same people in Lebanon, I saw that a lot of them were saying, no, this place, and these are medical people trying to help that aren't Hezbollah. They're saying, no, Hezbollah is not here. We're telling you we're not here. And that statue, if Hezbollah's everywhere, why was it still standing while Hezbollah was there and apparently all overrun by terrorists? But then the IDF comes in and they have a problem with the statue of Jesus Christ. I'm not selective. This is a story. It's bothering me. You're bulldozing statues of St. George. You're blowing up churches. And I'm not saying it's an excuse, but what's to stop an army from saying, hey, we're going to bomb there and bomb churches because we say, and you have to believe our intelligence, that there's terrorists there.
Again,
if you think about it, Elon, and hold on, that mindset, that attitude, tell me how you can tell that person to stop. And I'd actually want to hear
what bothers you more?
nothing but
this or thousands of Christians being killed in Nigeria.
No, but Vinny, can I
each has its own thing. That
what bothers you more?
I agree with you.
No, let me. I want
Obviously, Adam, you're not going to get me in a gotcha moment. Of course, it's thousands of people getting killed. This isn't a gotcha. You can't address this story. This is a messed up story. So somebody else is reporting and doing it.
I'm not. You're treating thousands of people being murdered with the same selective outrage.
You're telling me how I
idiot smashing a statue.
Are you telling me how I feel?
Here's what I'm telling you how you feel.
Christ, a statue of Jesus
Christ. About your feelings.
Here's what I want to say. I want to say you have to look at the larger picture of what the intention of the nation is. So in Israel, 20% of the country is not Jewish. They have the only growing Christian population in the entire Middle East. It's a small population, but it's the only growing Christian population in the entire Middle East. Anyone can go research this. It's the only country in the Middle East that has equal rights for Christians and protections for Christians across the board. They can even proselytize as much as people say they can't. That's a myth. You can't go undercover into schools, pretend to be a Jew, and proselytize to children secretly. That was protected for any religion.
There's proselytizing prohibitions for 1,000 miles around Israel, but not in Israel.
Not in Israel.
Exactly.
And so there, when Adam's talking about selective outrage, there's a reality that you're looking at the one country in the Middle East with a growing Christian population that has major protections within its country for Christians. And you're saying, look at what they did here. It's terrible, it's terrible, it's terrible. And objectively, it gets more views, more attention, and more anything than the massacre of Christians in Nigeria, then the massacre. There's bombs in churches in Syria where people were inside praying. Suicide bombers went in. Nobody talked about it.
Zero story.
There is a certain reality to the double standard we talked about. That does not mean that you should not be pissed off about this.
Of course.
You are 100% right for being pissed off about this. But also understand that this is something that the leader of the country immediately came out and condemned and said he is saddened by.
Which is good.
He has value.
Should.
And we should fix the problems, hold Israel accountable.
I got two more stories to get to.
Sorry, okay, I'll stop.
So, Tom, were you going to say anything or no?
No.
Okay.
Did you see the picture that was on Lebanese TV? Just to give a little optimism, bright side. Have Robbie could play this. This is the first time on Lebanese TV recently.
My TV died, so I can't see anything.
Well, Glenn Beck was talking about this, where a Lebanese official TV showed the Star of David, the Israeli flag, and said, the people of Lebanon and the people of Israel, we want peace. Okay, so let's understand, Hezbollah is a terrorist organization that has hijacked Lebanon, and the 80%, just like in Iran, want Hezbollah out of there.
Here's the reality.
That's what's going on.
Here's the reality of it. If in your core you have something against Israel, your behavior on what you share will reveal who you are. If in your core you have an issue with Catholics, it's going to reveal itself. If in your core you have something against Christians, it's going to reveal itself. And social media right now is going to use this to divide. Muslims are celebrating with something like this. celebrating, because what is it doing? More division, more division, more division, more division. They're salivating for stories like this and want more of it. And if your automatic reaction is this level, then Christians getting killed in Nigeria is this level, then you've been manipulated. You've been brainwashed. You're part of the camp that's been, and that's on you. You know, if the reaction here is not this, and oh my God, look at this on any story that you have, like even today when we're going through the stories we're showing with Trump and Pope Leo, okay, and then Humberto. The only data Humberto only sends me is always one-sided, so I know where Humberto's stuff will come from. So he sends me, but look at this, but look at this. But guess what? One of the ones he sent was right. Let me show it to you.
Yeah.
This is where America's against it, right? The problem is when people are not able to see both. Like if you're selective searching and selective looking for everything, you're going to find plenty of stats to use to validate your animosity towards the community. I'm moving on. 2 other stories I want to do before we wrap up. Let me see what time I got. 11:24. This one has to be very short, and I'm only going to one of you guys, maybe 2 of you on this one here. Vinny, maybe one of the most important stories. You know this. Okay, on April 8th, the New York Mets. On April 9th, the New York Mets had the mayor of New York City, Mamdani, visit and hug the mascot. And video went viral. I saw the video. On the bottom of it, I typed in, "Go Yankees." Okay, I wanted to make sure everybody knows this.
You might have been a part of it.
Do you know, from the 9th till today, Mets had lost the game on the 8th, but from the 9th till today, they have lost 10 consecutive games. It's now 11 if you can count the 8th. My only request to the mayor of the Mets is, for every single week, please pay a visit to the Mets just once. If you can continue doing this, it'll be a beautiful thing. On behalf of the Yankees fans, we want to thank Mayor Mamdani for visiting the Mets games and the mascots. Vinny, I think you wanted to say a couple words about this as well. I just love it.
Do you guys remember, Tom, the curse of the Bambino in 1919 where the Boston Red Sox sold Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees, and that move flipped everything. The Yankees turned into, what the Yankees turned into. How many championships, Pat, do we have? 27?
27.
27.
But not one since 09.
Oh, and I don't want to even talk about that because it's been depressing. And then Mamdani shows up and it's like, bro, you can't. It's almost like is it the Drake, Adam? Drake's curse?
Oh, yeah.
Where whoever Drake bets on or big names or Super Bowls or everything, it always goes the opposite way. But I mean, listen, the proof is in the pudding. He showed up. If I have to if I have to do a predictive thing, I think it's going to go to 15 game losing streaks, maybe even more, because the guy is just literally everything he touches is going to go to trash, and you guys are going to see.
Well, I think what you're saying is anything socialism touches,
well, he did
turns
touch
to
it.
trash.
Yes,
and he has socialism and Islamism in New York City.
But he looks like a guy that would be a Mets fan.
100%.
He looks like a Mets fan more than a Yankees fan.
1,000%.
He just gives me the vibe.
Yeah, he gives the vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like the guy that doesn't know the first thing about sports.
Well, he has a ring here. I don't trust anybody, a dude that has a ring on your index finger. Yeah. You can't trust that.
But the good news is he was hanging out with Obama recently.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's going to turn out well. Do you have that picture?
Let me give a shout out to this one place this weekend that I went to, and I'm texting Jen. Let me just call her real quick. We went to this. Have I taken you to this place with? By the way, the service here is fantastic. Are you guys noticing how amazing the service here is?
Love it.
You're calling Jen in the middle of the podcast.
Yeah. So we went to this one deli down the street, somewhere here, and I want to give a shout out to
shout out to deli.
It's with a P. Starts with a P.
A deli?
Yeah. It's a deli locally here. We went to. I wish I.
Is it Pomperdale?
That's the one.
Yeah,
Pomperdale?
I've eaten there.
Good?
Yeah. It is good. They have.
Rob, yeah.
Is the place named Pomperdale, babe?
I'm going. New York famous deli.
I'll go with you, Vinny.
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah, so we went to Pomperdale, and let me tell you, babe, the owner's name was Rick, right? Am I saying it correctly? Rick. So, okay, thanks, babe. All right, bye. So we went there, and I had this one, it's called a New Yorker, roast beef. I'm not even a roast beef guy. And they had this dressing, and they had this mustard, what I think one of the daughter's faces on the mustard.
I'm going.
I put this mustard on there. By the way, they didn't sponsor this message. This is just flat out. I went and ate this roast beef and I took a bite out of it. I'm not even kidding with you. Even with my torn ACL, I ran a 4:30 40. It was like I became He-Man all of a sudden. I felt like I was a whole different human being. But guess what?
Yeah.
Big Yankees guy, 1967 or 1969. He went to his first Yankees game, and guess who hit a foul ball to him? Guess who, Tom? Guess
Mickey
who hit
Mantle.
Mickey Mantle.
Oh,
hit
forget
a
about it.
ball.
Forget about
and
it.
he's got the ball till today. I said,
Wow.
who's your second favorite Yankee of all time? He says, Mattingly's got the Mattingly guy came into the trade for
Donnie
Mattingly
baseball.
with Marilyn Monroe. But anyways.
Keep Mamdani away from that deli.
There's something about New York Yankees, man. I don't know what to tell you. Even though the Dodgers are looking very, very good this year.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
How's your boy Juan Soto doing?
Yeah, well, he's at the Mets.
That's what I'm saying. How's he doing?
Obviously not
He's on
good.
an 11-game win streak. But let me tell you, he was pretty fun to watch in the World Series. What do you call it?
In Venezuela.
The national game.
Dominican Republic.
Dominican Republic.
Pero
So anyways,
Venezuela wins.
go Yankees. To all the Yankees out there doing your thing, man, we got a couple wins here that we got like 3 or 4 win streak, which is exciting. And Mamdani keeps showing up to the Mets. You're amazing. And on top of that, for hotcakes and hot takes, we have a special episode that's about to go out right now. Vinny, who is it?
Tristan Tate is going live right now, 11:30. Please support it. I think the lower third is on there. Just go QR code and support it. Can I give a really fast, quick shout out to everybody that bought the Faith Over Fear white hat?
Sold out
That
like
thing
this.
went that day, and we're going to try to replenish it.
We're going to try to get more whites.
But thank you, and I love you guys for wearing it.
It was
Thank you.
unbelievable how quickly it went. Take care, everybody. We got a special podcast we'll do today. Maybe it'll go out tomorrow. It's probably one of the most exciting guys on social media today that likes to fight. But anyways, I'll tell you about it afterwards. God bless everybody. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.